Welcome to the 2 p.m. hour of our live stream. I want to get you caught up on some of the top news of the day, especially stuff that we are covering locally here in Georgia. But starting with something that has rattled the country, I'm sure that this has been all over everyone's social media timelines. Yesterday evening at around 5:15 p.m., a plane crashed at a Kentucky airport, the Louisville airport. 7 people have been confirmed dead. Multiple people have been confirmed missing at this point in time. And the Kentucky governor posted online just Wednesday morning today that 16 families have reported loved ones unaccounted for. And so we want to try to understand how something like this could happen. And while we keep that conversation going, we're going to be joined by our reporter, Tyler Finger. He's actually live with us now. Now, Tyler, I do understand that you've been talking to some people here in Georgia who may have some insight on what happened all the way over in Kentucky. Is that true?
Yeah, Judea, good afternoon to you. I'll tell you, obviously, if you've gone anywhere on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, X, or any channel, I'll tell you, you've probably seen the different video clips of this catastrophic crash that happened in Louisville, Kentucky yesterday. 2 experts I spoke to say that likely those videos that you're looking at will play a key role in the investigation to figure out what went wrong in Kentucky just seconds after the liftoff of that MD-11 plane. Take a look behind me. We're here at Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. This is where the UPS hub is for the Atlanta area, for the air services, and you can actually see a plane right there. That is the same plane model that crashed yesterday in Kentucky. It's an MD-11 cargo plane. It has 3 engines, 2 on the wings and a 3rd on the tail. It can carry a lot of freight and can go long distances. Let's show you video from last night that we were just talking about. Things appear to go wrong even before the airplane could get off the ground. Video from eyewitnesses show the plane's left engine on fire as it rolled down the runway. Data shows the plane briefly got airborne before it crashed nearby and erupted into a fireball. The UPS plane was headed to Hawaii, and officials say it was loaded with more than 200,000 pounds of jet fuel. Kentucky's governor said the plane had 3 crew members on board when it crashed during takeoff and hit a petroleum recycling building and an auto parts store. At last check, at least 9 people are dead, and the governor says that number could go higher with another 16 people who may still be missing. I spoke to an Atlanta-based aviation attorney and pilot who says what happened was catastrophic. Based off the video, he believes the left engine exploded.
This was not, oh, I've got an engine fire, I've got to shut the engine down. This was not that. This was a literal, it's almost bomb-like in its presentation. This is a big explosion. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with your car if your engine in your car just explodes in your face? What are you going to do with that? Yeah.
Yeah, and he was also saying that basically that these pilots likely did everything they could to get that plane into the air and keep it airborne. But he said because of what he saw in the different video clips, it appears to be an explosion, and obviously that massive fire, it would just burn so hot and so fast. Jet fuel is incredibly flammable, and so it would just ruin the structural integrity of that wing, which would make flight almost impossible. And then obviously the thrust from having one less engine would also cause an issue, even though planes are designed to fly without one of their engines. That's one of the ways the engineers behind aircraft are able to make things happen, and they want to be able to have things be able to fly even with one less engine. I also did speak to a former FAA safety representative who was part of a team. He said that basically investigators are going to have a lot to look at here, and a lot of this was on video. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Video might play a huge role in this investigation, as we have a lot of videos out there, and the most important is of that left wing and that left engine. We could see as the airplane is barreling down the runway that there is a significant fire around that wing and engine area.
And obviously you just have to think about those people who lost their lives in this. Obviously we know of 9 according to the governor of Kentucky. It's unclear right now though if that includes the 3 pilots who were on board, the 3 crew members who were on board the aircraft, or if it's just people on the ground. Those are obviously numbers that are still fluctuating nearly 24 hours after this devastating crash. And in the aviation world, no one likes to see this, but obviously investigators are going to work together to to piece together exactly what happened here. The NTSB is on the ground in Kentucky, we understand, and we should mention in just about an hour, the NTSB is expected to hold a news conference to be able to update the public on what they know so far and what they are working to learn.
Tyler, first of all, thank you so much for trying to get us here in Georgia up to date on everything that's happening out there. I mean, just seeing the video where you see that mushroom cloud bloom into the sky and just how fiery it was, it's really scary. So it is good to be able to get some answers. Looking forward to that press conference later on. And maybe if we have some time later on in this stream, we'll get to hear what some of the officials have already said about this incident. We have that press conference locked and loaded for us. Tyler, thank you for your time. And so now it was not just a big news day out in Kentucky, but also for us here in Georgia. It was election day, and Democrats managed to flip 2 seats for the Public Service Commission, which is a huge deal for 2 reasons. First of all, this is the first time in a couple of years that those seats were actually up for election because of ongoing legal issues. And also, the Public Service Commission decides how much we pay for our energy bill. So it was a big deal for a lot of people listening in and going out to cast their votes yesterday. So now our Deidre Dukes is joining us live right now outside the Georgia Capitol. She can tell us a lot more about this important race. Deidre.
And I do have to say that this is the first in my 30 years of covering news and covering politics that we have seen so much attention and excitement surrounding the PSC race. This is the first time that we've heard so much about it and the candidates and what's at stake. But certainly that was the case this year with 2 Democratic candidates vying to unseat 2 Republican incumbents there on the 5-member board. And the Democrats did certainly do that, winning the race last night handedly by wide margins. Now we have images of the candidates who were vying both to flip those seats and also those who were trying to retain those seats. Now in a major upset, both Democratic candidates Alicia Johnson, who faced off against Republican Tim Echols in District 2, and Democrat Peter Hubbard, who ran against GOP incumbent Fitz Johnson, managed to flip both seats on the Republican-controlled board, and the resounding victory has really gotten strong reaction from both Georgia Republican and Democratic Party leadership. We talked to Republican strategist Brian Robinson earlier today. He said this really serves as a reminder that Georgia remains a competitive state, and Republicans must keep that in mind heading into the 2026 midterms as they prepare to take on Senator Ossoff and other Democratic candidates. Now, he also told us that he's been sounding the alarm for months about this possible outcome because municipal elections around the state were really driving Democratic turnout, while he said Republicans never really got energized about a statewide election. Here's what he told us earlier today.
Georgia's competitive, and people are feeling squeezed, and there's an anti-incumbent sentiment. We saw that in a lot of elections locally, even a lot of incumbents losing or being put into runoffs against challengers for mayor's races, city council races, etc. But affordability is the issue of the day. It was in 2024 when Trump beat Biden. Biden had the burden of inflation and cost of living increases. And in this particular case, the Public Service Commission incumbents, Fitz Johnson and Tim Echols, they bore the burden of what people saw as rate increases that were hurting them, and they wanted to protest. They wanted to speak out, and that's what they did at the ballot box.
Of course, Democrats celebrating this victory today. We're hearing from Georgia Democratic leaders in the Democratic Party here. We're working on that part of the story, which we'll have for you starting at 4 o'clock on Fox 5 News, hearing from both sides. There are takeaways as to what this could mean as we head into the midterms for both parties. A lot at stake there, Judea.
Yeah, I would guarantee that everybody's feeling the heat, knowing that Republican voters definitely have to get out there if they want to make some change in the upcoming election. So we're going to see what comes along with all of this. But I know you're out there working hard and working quickly. So we're looking forward to hearing from you again. And news at 4. We'll be streaming along. We'll be there. Thanks, Deidre. All right, you guys, it was, as I mentioned, a very big night for Democrats, not just here in Georgia, but also across the country. You're taking a look live at the U.S. Capitol there. I want to talk to you about that election as we know it. Now, in New York City, Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani won New York City's mayoral race, drawing in its biggest turnout in 2 decades. I want to talk to you about why this is so huge. Former Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo was who he was going up against. He used to be the governor out there in New York, but wasn't able to make it to the mayoral seat. He was running this time as an independent and not as a Democrat. Now, as many political analysts say that this could be a sign of the times for a place like New York City, that maybe it's getting even more progressive. Mamdani is not only the first Muslim and the first person of South Asian descent to be elected mayor, but he's also the youngest person in over a century to do it. Earlier today, he spoke at a news conference. He spoke to the press about his plans to lead the city. Let's listen in.
I will work every day to honor the trust that I now hold. The poetry of campaigning may have come to a close last night at 9, but the beautiful prose of governing has only just begun. The hard work of improving New Yorkers' lives starts now. That process begins with transition. In the coming months, I and my team will build a city hall capable of delivering on the promises of this campaign. We will form an administration that is in equal parts capable and compassionate, driven by integrity, and willing to work just as hard as the millions of New Yorkers who call this city home. And central to that effort is a transition team that is defined by the excellence New Yorkers will soon come to expect from government. Our team will be directed by Ilana Leopold, whose roots in this city extend back to her grandmother running the trams on Roosevelt Island. She has extensive experience in city government and has been a key part of our campaign to become the next mayor of this city. And it will be led by our formidable co-chairs, former Federal Trade Commissioner Chair Lena Khan, former First Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer, United Way President and CEO Grace Bonilla, and former Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services Melanie Hartzog. Over the coming days, we'll start announcing the leaders who will implement our agenda. People like deputy mayors who oversee entire areas of government, and the commissioners who carry out the critical work of city agencies. Some of these people will have familiar names, others will not. What will unite them will be a commitment to solving old problems with new solutions. We will cast a wide net. We will speak to the organizers on the front lines of the fight to improve our city, government veterans with proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world, and working people who know better than anyone what their neighborhoods need. Throughout this campaign, I have worked hard to be accessible and transparent with New Yorkers. That same spirit will animate this transition and the city hall we build, because New Yorkers deserve a government that they can trust. And on January 1st, when our city celebrates the inauguration of a new administration, let us also celebrate a new era for our city, one that we all feel invested in and whose success we all work to achieve.
So you were hearing from Mayor-elect Mamdani there, keeping the ball rolling on some other key races across the United States where Democrats really showed up and showed out. In New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill won a tight race for governor, and in Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger also picked up a gubernatorial win, becoming the first female governor in the state's history and flipping Virginia blue after 4 years. Guys, so this was a pretty big deal for a lot of the Democrats in our country. Now, meanwhile, President Trump took to Truth Social, warning that, quote, and I quote, Trump wasn't on the ballot and the shutdown were the two reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight. The government shutdown has entered day 36, making it the longest in American history. Again, you're taking a live look there at the U.S. Capitol, where the Senate floor was open. And yesterday, House Speaker Mike Johnson said that the Senate, for the 15th time in a row, voted on the Republican spending bill. Republicans voted yes. The Democrats, he says, voted against it. They've held out now for about a month, demanding protections for health care funding. And earlier today, Speaker Mike Johnson spoke pretty candidly, saying that he never thought that it would get to this. He says that...
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you this morning. Good morning. Joining us today, as you can see, are some of the rising stars in our party. These are Republican members of the sophomore class. They're in their second term. Many of them have been working so hard for the last several weeks in their districts, trying to help their constituents navigate the chaoses that have been created by the Democrat shutdown. We're now on day 36, and it is a sad landmark in our history. This is the longest shutdown of any government in our history. And they've also made history in a number of ways, which we've recounted every day in our daily press conferences. Remember, this is the first time in the history of America that any party has had the audacity to close down the government over a totally clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution. I said yesterday, and I'm being honest, none of us imagined that we would be here at this moment. We couldn't have imagined that Democrats would be willing to force families to go hungry and workers to miss paychecks for 5 weeks on end, 50 days plus, and we never did imagine that they would be willing to use the pain of American families with such reckless disregard. But that is what we are seeing, and it is unconscionable. Despite the 15 opportunities they have now had to reopen the government, they have voted 15 times to keep it closed. That is the number that everyone has to pay attention to. All the Americans who are hurting because of this. They need to understand Republicans have voted 15 times to open your government, and the Democrats have voted 15 times to close it. They voted to deny paychecks to workers, to stop the flow of SNAP funds to hungry families, and all the rest. And still, somehow, they have the audacity to go on national television and gaslight the American people and try to pretend that somehow the Republican Party has some blame in this. It's the most outrageous example of political gaslighting that we have ever seen. And day after day, they have claimed, without any merit at all, this shutdown is somehow about health care. It's a blatant lie, and they know it. They tried to string together two totally unrelated issues: the expiration of the Obamacare COVID subsidies and the basic funding of the federal government. Those are two totally distinct things. Republicans have always been willing to have a conversation about the COVID-era subsidies and how to make Obamacare and health care more affordable. But we will not, and we should not do so as hostages in their political game. It was in no way necessary or appropriate to shut down the government in order to have bipartisan discussions about the subsidies. The reality is the Democrats could have avoided all of this chaos and all the pain, everything they've inflicted on American families, by simply voting to back the clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution, the 24-page simple document, just as they did 13 times under the Biden administration. They could have passed that 47 days ago. After the House did it, we did our work and sent it over there. And we would have had all these negotiations and continued. I'm gonna wrap this up and tell you again why. The big question is why. Why would the Democrats have the audacity to do this? As we summarized so simply yesterday, and we will do so every day, they are motivated out of fear. The Democrats shut down the government out of fear.
All right, you were listening to the Speaker of the House there. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump issued a new threat on social media yesterday to stop SNAP food aid unless Democrats agree to reopen the government. Now, the president follows through with that. If he does, it would defy judges' ruling to release emergency funds for the program. And later, the White House clarified, saying the administration will continue to pay out SNAP funding in line with court orders. Meanwhile, we do know that people across our country, even here in Georgia, are still trying to figure out what's going on amid all this confusion and what seems to be some mixed messaging from the White House. But we'll keep our eyes on it for you guys and bring you the latest as we learn it. All right. We are going to switch gears in a second. We're going to bring things back local. I want to talk to you about some of the biggest headlines from right here in Georgia. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. Let's dig right into what's happening in our area, starting with a cement truck that we learned crashed through a guardrail. Here's the information that I have on that so far. In northwest Atlanta, crews began working to remove a concrete truck. I mean, you're looking at it right there that crashed through that guardrail. This happened along Marietta Boulevard at the entrance to the Luna Upper West Side apartment complex. And as you're seeing the worker there, he can't understand how something like this happened. Now, sadly, officials do tell us that the driver of that vehicle has died. We're told that no one else was injured in this incident. They do say it's possible that the driver may have suffered from some sort of medical emergency causing the crash, but they're not exactly sure on that, so they're not naming what that medical emergency may have been. We did get to speak to Major Jeff Canton from the Atlanta Police Department. He gave us a little more insight on what they ran into when they came out to this scene on Marietta Boulevard. Let's listen in.
So earlier this morning, just after 7, we had a concrete truck coming in, and the concrete truck left the roadway. When it left the roadway, it took out a power pole and it took out fire hydrant and went upside down over by the bank building. So it's a single vehicle accident. We're working with Georgia Power right now to get power reactivated for all the neighborhoods here. The driver did pass, so we have our accident investigation team out here. They are working the case, and we're working with the local businesses that are affected right now.
Do we know anything that could have caused, this driver to veer off? And
right now, we can't tell. We'll have to wait for the medical examiner to give us more information.
Okay, all right. And do we know if it was like in drive, or was it in neutral? Or
no, the vehicle was still in drive when the police arrived on the scene. We had to help secure the vehicle just to make sure that no further incidents happened.
That's crazy. And nobody else was hurt in the incident?
Yeah, thankfully it was early in the morning. The parking lot was empty and it was very limited traffic.
That's wild. So, yeah, I guess, so he hit this. What did he do? He hit the
left the road, hit the power pole, hit the fire hydrant at the corner, trapped a light.
That sign too, it looks
hit
like.
Hit the sign, rubbed the side of the bank building, and then went over an embankment.
Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah, so.
Don't see him like that very often.
No, and that's a big, heavy truck.
Yeah, I understand he had a full load of concrete?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, he was going to a construction site.
Okay, all right. Well, that's really about all I got for you. Anything else that I'm missing?
No, that's it. Cool. We got everybody out here. Thomas, Georgia Power, talk to the bank, talk to Metro. Yeah, we got everything covered. We're just waiting for the tow trucks to get.
We're also looking into a crash involving a school bus. This happened in DeKalb County. The school bus was involved in some sort of crash with a car on Stewart Mill Road early this morning. Our crew responded to the scene at around 7 a.m. You're taking a look at some video that we were able to capture there. You can see the front bumper of the bus is pretty messed up. Now, it happened at that intersection at Stewart Mill Road and Rockbridge Road Southwest. The crew said that DeKalb County Police were investigating this, trying to figure out exactly what happened here. According to the school district, luckily there were no injuries reported in this crash. We could see the bus driver at the scene when we reported out to it, but we don't know if there were any students who were on board at the time of the incident. All right, another headline that we're keeping our eyes on: one person is dead, one person is seriously injured and still trying to recoup from an apartment shooting. This happened out in Sweet Auburn, and our reporter Lindsay Tuman was on it early this morning if you were able to watch Good Day Atlanta. This happened at the outside the Bethel Towers in Atlanta's Sweet Auburn neighborhood. Again, it is one man dead, another person seriously injured. Police believe that the two may have been exchanging gunfire there. They were short of calling it a full-blown shootout or anything like that, but they do believe that the two people knew each other and were shooting at each other when they injured each other. Police say that they found a 39-year-old man in the hallway who had been shot multiple times. He was taken to the hospital. He is the person who later died from his injuries. Another person showed up at the hospital a little later on, also with multiple gunshot wounds. They connected that person to that shooting outside the Bethel Towers, and they began treating them for life life-threatening injuries, but they do say that that person, that man, is in stable condition. So we're still trying to figure out exactly what happened here. Again, we were only told that there may have been an exchange of gunfire, but we're still trying to figure out some more details. We'll have them for you on the Fox Local app, as well as fox5atlanta.com. And before I close you out, I do want to bring you some good news that we are hearing about. The Atlanta Hawks have just announced this morning that they're going to be providing some accessible devices for their blind or low vision fans. So if you've ever been to a Hawks game, you know that that is a very, very cool experience. They've got pyrotechnics. They sometimes have celebrities out there at the games. When they have those fast, quick plays, you want to stay up to date, but it's very difficult if you can't see what's happening. And so what they're going to be doing, I believe they have 5 of these devices. It's called the One Court device. It's game day accessibility so that fans who are blind or experience low vision can still experience all of the excitement out at a Atlanta Hawks game, which is pretty cool. Stuff like this always makes me feel good. My nephew, I've told you guys multiple times here on the stream, does have some physical disabilities, and so something like this would be really awesome for him. So just wanted to end things on a positive note there for you guys. All right, we are going to keep the ball rolling, though. I want to talk to you about some organizations throughout Georgia who continue time after time, week after week, day after day, showing up to make sure our people here, our residents, are still fed, especially while this uncertainty with SNAP benefits, and soon we're going to be looking at WIC. As all that continues, they are making sure that our residents stay fed. So we're going to check in with some of those organizations in just a second. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I love being able to bring you good news, especially here on the live stream. Want to point you in the direction of some cool organizations around Georgia who are, again, time and time again, showing up for our residents, making sure that they are prepared with meals, with food. You have definitely heard of Hosea Helps. They are not only providing food, though, they're also, as I learned, assisting with rent, mortgage, and so much more. So we sent our reporter, Eli Jordan, to check it out earlier today. Let's see what he has on his hands.
That's right. I'm out here at Hosea Helps, where they're helping out 100 families today. Normally, they don't have this many coming through, but considering the SNAP benefits, you know, the uncertainty happening, they got to help out a bunch of people. And so they have been lining up out here today since 8 a.m., 100 vehicles. And normally, like I said, they don't serve 100 families like this. Is normally around maybe about a dozen families a day or whatever, but they have seen that's a tenfold uptick. And joining me right now is Elizabeth Omalami. She is the president of Hosea Helps. Elizabeth, Ms. Omalami, to tell me how dire is the situation right now?
This is a disaster. So whatever they do in disaster preparedness, where people don't have food, we should do it right now. We should not lean on TikTok or YouTube somewhere to tell us whether SNAP is funded or not. Whether it is or not, we need food. I'm so thankful. I just had a donation from Mike Thurman giving us 500 boxes of fresh fruits and vegetables and 500 dozen eggs. That's the kind of donation that can really make a difference. But the small person coming in, or the with just one turkey, that's the widow's mite. We love those people because we know they're giving out of their need, and it's a sacrifice. But when you've got a county that has $165 million in abundance that's not allocated, and then you talk about giving us $50,000, that breaks my heart.
And then a little bit of background on that. Last week, Chairman Pitts of the Fulton County Commission was requesting $500,000 to be released to the 9 nonprofit food banks that are have contracts with Fulton County, and that's roughly $55,000 each. How far does that $55,000 go for you guys?
It's a drop in the bucket. I mean, if you look at their budgets, they give like $200,000, $300,000 to save the park, or to grow some flowers. These are human beings that need help right now. They won't get those food stamps in November. I am counting on the people of the city of Atlanta to come through for Hosea Helps, because this is our 54th year serving people. And I don't know what else we could do. We are the mass food distribution experts in this region, and the only African American food bank in the region, serving 51,000 people a year. So you can't do what we do for $2 a plate. I don't know what that is. What we do, we give them enough food to last for 2 weeks, plus some kind of protein like chicken breast or chickens. On November the 12th, we will be giving out the fresh fruits and vegetables. Actually, Saturday morning, November 15th. We'll be giving out those food boxes. So just check the website. We'll have it posted on forhosea, HOSEA.org.
And that's the number 4.
Number 4.
Gotcha. And ultimately, the government, we just need to get the government back running so we can get these SNAP benefits going and take the pressure off of you guys and other food banks, correct?
Yes. And if I deal in politics, it upsets me, because I know the resources are there. It's not about a lack of money. It's about a lack of heart for the very people that put you in office. And you need to examine yourselves and figure out, why don't you care about thousands of people that we serve that lost SNAP, they lost health care, and people it's trauma to the communities and to the families, and our hearts are upside down.
Well, Ms. Omalami, president of the Hosea Helps, thank you so much for speaking with us today. And as you can see, guys, they're wrapping up here, but they're going to need more and more. And then the county commission's releasing of those funds, emergency funds. That's only going to go so far, and it's not going to be very far at all. But hopefully we'll get these SNAP benefits continuing again and take some of the pressure off of the food banks around in our area, because everyone is feeling it. Yeah. Back to you guys.
Eli, thank you so much for bringing us that look out there with Hosea Helps. I do want to let you know, if you love a mission like that, or if you're out there and you need some assistance too, we do have an article on our website. Sometimes you guys tell us we tell you about an article, but we don't tell you exactly how you can find it. Here is the headline: Georgia SNAP benefits pausing. Where you can get free food in Metro Atlanta has a list of places multiple counties, places where you can go and get some assistance right now. Hosea Helps is one of those organizations. All right, and keeping the ball rolling, Super Jenny. A lot of you guys love to eat there. They're known for their delicious soups and sandwiches and whatnot, but also for their commitment to community. And so I'm joined now with the owner of Super Jenny, Jenny Levson, right now. First of all, thank you so much for joining us here on Pop Local.
My pleasure.
Now, Jenny, I do understand that Super Jenny has always had a heart for the community. Between the actual restaurant and your nonprofit, the Zadie Project, can you talk to me about what has inspired you to start giving back and helping in the way that you are?
I really think that for me, it's like everyone who is in business for themselves. Obviously, it's important to be part of the community that you're serving. So we've had our nonprofit wing of the restaurant, the Zadie Project, since 2017. And I think I was just looking for a way to daily pay it forward and get involved in the community.
And so right now, where there is that uncertainty with some people not sure how they're going to keep putting food on the table or when those benefits may be partially funded for them, we also know that the cost of living is rising. How does this work in practice? What exactly are you able to do for people who are hungry?
First of all, I can't agree more with Elizabeth Omalami about people are hungry, and that's heartbreaking. And if you have never experienced what it's like to be hungry, you just don't know. So what we do at the Zadie Project, every week we're donating 1,000 quarts of fresh homemade soup. That's another thing that I'm passionate about, is getting fresh food to people and healthy food, especially families with kids and kids that are in school, because that's affecting their education, having nutrition. So we are doing that every week out of the restaurant and partnering with about 13 different organizations, but that's still not enough. So I've really noticed, and my restaurant friends are stepping up, and we are just doing whatever we can to get more food out there into the community. So for example, we've come up with a free family meal program, and every day of the week at all 5 locations, you can come into one of our restaurants the last hour of business. We have little tickets. You don't have to really explain why you're there. You just hand a ticket to the register, and we will help you put together a healthy and nutritious meal for 1 to 4 people. No questions asked. So it doesn't matter if you're not receiving your SNAP benefits, or you've been furloughed, or you were just struggling to make ends meet. We are just trying this as a pilot program the month of November, and several of my other restaurant friends are doing the same.
Honestly, Jenny, there are so many things that I want to ask you, but let's start here. You touched on something there that I think is really special. You said that all people have to do is come in, get that ticket. They don't have to explain why they're there. And one of the questions I was going to ask you was, do people have to show that they have that need, or can they just come in and get some food?
They don't, and I'm sure that anytime you're going to give something away for free, that obviously can open you up for some issues. But you know what? People are hungry, and right now I'm not going to worry about that. If it gets abused, if it becomes a problem, maybe we'll have another conversation about this. But no, you don't have to. You could just be having a tough time and come in that last hour of business, and we're going to feed you.
I can imagine that that is going to be a relief off of the shoulders of so many people who are out there listening to us now, to know that you guys are doing this and how easy and non-confrontational it is to just come in and get some help. You did mention, too, that you've been talking to your restaurant friends about this, so I want to dig in a little further. I know that some restaurateurs say that they're a little hesitant toward giving away that surplus food. So what made you feel empowered to do so?
I just really feel it's my responsibility as a small business owner to do what I can. And sometimes it can't be that much. It depends if business is going okay for you, if it's not. But everyone, I feel, could do a little bit of something. Even my friends over, Nick Melvin, who's a chef here in Atlanta at Comunidad and El Pollo Loco, they are giving 5% of all their sales for the month of November. Maybe it's 1 month you can do. Maybe it's 1 week you could do something. And then they've also picked one soup at their other restaurant. I'm sorry, it's called Poco Loco. I got my words mixed up. But at
It's okay.
Poco Loco, they've created one soup. And if you buy that one soup, the proceeds are going to go to the community food bank. So I feel that everyone can do just a tiny bit. And altogether, that's going to make the ripple that's going to help.
Got you. And I heard you say, too, that this is kind of like a pilot program for you for the month of November. Even though we're only on the 5th day, have you heard anything from customers or any feedback from your staff about this?
Well, what's amazing is that in addition to offering it, we offer the chance for people to pay it forward. So at the register, there's a QR code if you want to buy a meal for the next person, whatever you want to do. And we're getting so many donations. But what I'd really like to push and get the word out is for people to come get food. So the donations are pouring in, but I do feel people still have that little bit of stigma about wanting to go in, needing help. And I'm hoping all 5 locations have been giving away some family meals, but I'd like it to be more. So that's what I'd like to get the word for.
Got you. Now, Jenny, Super Jenny, has been a staple in the Atlanta community scene for some years now. What does the word community mean to you as a restaurant owner?
Community to me just means that we are all in this together. And I love having the vehicle of food, of nourishing my community through food. I love to cook. I still, nothing's better than having a group of people around my table and feeding them. So that is what community is. And it's helping people, no matter what your background, your political background, your anything, that we can all pitch in and help each other, especially when times are rough, like they are now.
Jenny, I love this. The last question I want to ask you, and this is just a final word for our interview here. What are you hoping that people take away from your kind gesture, whether it is from actually receiving some food from Super Jenny, or if it is just watching this interview back and seeing that someone out there is doing something so kind for other people?
I really just hope the kindness is passed on. I think that's the whole, especially our country suffering right now from a lack of kindness in so many areas. And if that is the one message that we can give out, and that, just as a community, do what you can to go volunteer your time one day, whatever it is for you, whatever cause is important to you, that it has a bigger effect once it gets paid forward.
Jenny, thank you so much for joining me. Before I let you go, I always say this quote on our stream, especially when we are dealing with something big like this in our news. What do I want to say? Like our Rolodex of news. It's a quote from Mr. Rogers. He said that when he was a little boy and he would see scary things in the news, his mom would tell him to always look for the helpers, because you will always find someone who's helping. And Jenny Levison is one of those helpers. So thank you for joining us on Fox Local. All right, you guys, we are going to keep things going. Coming up, I want to show you another organization that's teaming up to help out students specifically who are struggling to eat for school, and just making sure that their families also have some food on their tables. We're also going to be talking a little bit about weather in just a bit. We'll be right back. guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. Over 1 million Georgians right now are affected by the uncertainty with SNAP benefits. Meanwhile, one Atlanta-based company is meeting students right where they're at. Gooder and Amazon have actually teamed up. They're opening a free full-service grocery store inside of Alcovey High School in Covington. Our reporter, Chris Rosenthal, checked it out a little earlier in the stream for you guys, but I wanted to recap it and make sure you knew what's available out there for those students. Let's check it out.
This is Gooder's 23rd school-based location like this across the country, a market inside of a school designed to provide food and some vegetables and other items to families that are in need, families that may have a hard time getting access to good food. This is with a partnership with Amazon. There's a variety of different items here: fruits, vegetables, box foods, frozen items. Food insecurity is a real issue. This is one area where, in particular, is a bit of a food desert, where there just isn't a lot of access. And that's one of the reasons why Gooder has come here to put in this market.
So we are here today at Alcovey High School in Newton County so that we can open our first Gooder grocery store here in the community to make sure that we're bringing accessible food and access to this community so that no student has to go home hungry from school and no family should have to decide between paying a bill and actually putting food on the table. So here we are today opening this amazing partnership with Amazon and Newton County School Board as well as Alcovey High School to bring accessible food right here to this high school.
And how will this work for the students? How will they get access to the food?
So every student here at the high school has access to this grocery store. So they will work with the high school guidance counselor to make appointments that will be held in discretion for them where they can shop either before school or after school. We have helped to train up a school store champion. That store champion will then make appointments for those students to come in. And during those appointments, a student will come in, they'll be able to close the door, shop in privacy, and then be able to take those groceries home to their families. Students will be able to shop at least 2 to 3 times a month. And the goal is that when they come in, they're taking anywhere from 5 to 7 days worth of groceries to feed their family.
Will their parents be involved in helping pick out what they need?
So the parents can be involved, but this is one of those spaces where we want to allow students to be able to have that dignity, that ownership, and that autonomy to be able to find groceries for them. Because again, we understand that students cannot learn through hunger, right? And teachers cannot teach through hunger. So when they're able to find food, fresh foods that they can be able to decide for on their own, you have places like this. And so we want their families to be involved, but we also want the students to take pride and dignity in what they're shopping for.
And why Alcovey? Why is the need here?
So Alcovey is situated in what we consider a food desert, and there are not a lot of grocery stores within the radius of this high school. And so therefore, we found that the need was great in this area, and right now we're in a place within our economy and within a world where 1.4 million individuals are impacted by food access and food deserts in their community. And so places such as Newton County and Alcovey High School have been able to allow us to be able to find the need and meet the need right here where we are.
And this came about before the SNAP benefits became an issue. It just happens to time out well with that.
Yes, the timing is perfect, but not perfect, right? We want to be able to bring access to this community, but we're in a time where we have federal workers, we have students, we have families right here at Alcovey High School that are being impacted by SNAP and EBT being cut off due to the government shutdown. And so this was just timely. We have been working on this partnership for over 6 months to bring this store here because we have known that this need has been here for far too long. So we are thankful to our partners at Amazon for partnering with Gooder in Alcovey High School and Newton County Schools to bring this accessible option to the school.
And it's completely free.
It's completely free.
Now, there are 1,800 students at this school, and it's open to all of them. They just need to reach out to their guidance counselor. And it opens up officially on November 18th. Back to you.
All right, we will be paying attention and seeing what happens on November 15th when it opens. But Jonathan wanted to bring our meteorologist, Jonathan Stacy, to the desk to bring you guys the latest in your weather forecast.
A little disclaimer here. One thing that I do not like about my job is that I rarely get to bask in the what is.
Yeah.
Because I'm always predicting the what will be, or what we hope. Yeah, I can't live in the moment. And the moment that we have before us is absolutely, utterly splendiferous, amazing bliss.
Is it gonna last long?
It's coming back tomorrow.
Okay.
Friday's not too shabby.
Okay.
But then we got some storms that are trying to break out sometime Friday night into Saturday morning. So that's the thing about it. It's like, I just cannot chill. Okay.
All right, talk to us about
75 degrees here in the city of Atlanta at this hour. Go down to Texas, you'll find some 80-degree temperatures. I won't be surprised if a couple try to pop up in North Georgia tomorrow. We'll see how that all pans out. The day will end just how all the days of yore have ended. We'll drop down into the 40s. We'll make it to 48 degrees to kick off your Thursday morning. Thursday turns out to be another nice and unseasonably warm day by early November standards. By 12 o'clock, we're already knocking on the door of 70 degrees. We'll push the temperature up to about a high. Let's go for 76. Let's see if the computer models agree with me. Yes, 76 degrees here for the city. Look at Thomaston coming in at 77 degrees. I think Rome may even outdo that 75. You can see here the trend is to push temperatures about 8 degrees above where they should be for this time of the year. We'll stay cloud free for one more day, but then the clouds are pushed out as high pressure slides out, and then clouds move in. Clouds taking over for Friday, and then some shower activity developing, maybe a few thunderstorms that takes us in through the day Saturday with on and off waves of shower activity. Push that cold front out, and then the temperatures take a nosedive. It looks like there will be the first round of winter weather for the Great Lakes. For us, it may not produce winter precip, but the winter chill, it will be one that you will be able to feel. Let's take a look at your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast, and here's how it all pans out. Yes, we have 2 more days of bliss. Friday, do not cancel or adjust any plans unless you are out late on the streets. Friday night going into Saturday, there is a slight risk for severe storms, a level 1 out of 5 for the northwestern quadrant of the state. That takes us into Saturday morning, but you can see here Saturday's rain chances are not big and bad. They're fairly meager, but it won't be a pretty day. It still will be a warm day. It just will look kind of off. Sunday, I think things are going to clear up before you wake up. Temperatures, they'll already be on the downturn, will be somewhere between 58 68 degrees. Okay, well, yeah, it's a slide down. In fact, I think our temperature may go backwards throughout the day. We'll see how it all pans out. We'll follow the mercury, but by the time you wake up Monday morning, Judea, we will feel like we have gone back down into gone back up into your neck of the woods.
Oh, New York.
Into the 30s, yep.
Jonathan, it has been like a whirlwind for me trying to get ready in the morning because obviously I'm packing that parka. And by the time that I get here, I feel like I'm taking off layers and then I'm leaving and I am hot. Like right now, I'm kind of sweating a little bit.
Let me talk about an environment that I really don't track. I don't track indoor environments, but you have to consider this is, yeah, we can't control what's outside. We can control what's in our car and in our homes, but you get to work and it's like, do they know what the forecast is? Because and it's not just here. This is at workplaces all across the country. It's like, correct. Man, it's 60 degrees outside and it's 52 in here. I'm talking
Somebody knows what we're talking about.
And then it's like, okay, we get a little warm up and they still got on the heat. So I'm giving the folks in this building, let me go talk to, I think it's Neil Gowdy. Neil, it's going to be 32 degrees when we come in here. Now. I don't want to feel no air anywhere. Knock that stuff off Sunday night. I'm trying to save y'all some money.
Why you say Sunday though? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I want them to do it. Well, Sunday you're going to be okay. We can deal with that.
I cannot.
But man, I don't want to walk up in here on Thursday morning getting a reinforcing wind chill. Poof. That'll be a little much. I'm going to go talk to them. We're going to do meteorology internally and externally these days.
I hope they listen to you. Oh, my goodness. All right, you guys. Well, that has been your news at 2. I do want to let you know we're also paying attention to the comments that you're leaving on YouTube. I know one of the big questions that a lot of you have is how the plane crash in Kentucky happened. So when the news continues at 3, we're hoping to bring you a live press conference where you'll be learning a whole lot more about that incident. Jonathan, thank you for the laughs on the 2 o'clock.
You've been great. Tom Haynes in the seat. I'll see you back at 3.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haynes with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. We're so happy you're with us on this Wednesday as we take a live look at Louisville, Kentucky. The National Transportation Safety Board expected at any moment to approach that microphone to give us details on the horrific crash involving a UPS plane, an MD-11, that crashed at the Louisville airport yesterday, killing 9 people. Of course, the crew on board the plane and others on the ground. We understand that more than a dozen people are still unaccounted for. There is a state of emergency in that area, and no doubt by now you've seen the video of that plane going down in a fiery inferno, crashing to the ground just off of the runway. So at any moment, the NTSB is going to update us on what it thinks at this point in the investigation happened and the search and recovery mission for people who may still be missing in the aftermath of that crash. So we'll check back in Louisville here in just a couple of moments. Also want to take you live to Washington, D.C., where the government shutdown has officially entered its 36th day, breaking the record now as the longest ever shutdown on record. It was disrupted briefly by the elections which took place yesterday, but it is now back in earnest. The debate is happening on Capitol Hill for terms on how to reopen the government and get people the essential benefits that they need, including what we've been hearing so much about lately, those SNAP benefits that so many depend upon, and getting our air traffic control system back up and running fully and in earnest, getting those folks paid, including Transportation Safety Administration workers who are working our airports. President Trump refusing at this point still to negotiate with Democrats, saying that he will not be held hostage by the demands of Democrats to extend Obamacare subsidies in order to reopen the government. He says, let's reopen it and then get to the table and talk. The House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke not too long ago on the status of negotiations. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you this morning. Good morning. Joining us today, as you can see, are some of the rising stars in our party. These are Republican members of the sophomore class. They're in their second term. Many of them have been working so hard for the
with you. We have the speaker on tape, so we're going to come back to that in a second. But happening live right now, comments from the NTSB on the UPS plane crash yesterday. Let's listen in.
Losses. Now, before I go any further, on behalf of the entire NTSB, I want to just express our sincere condolences to those who were not only affected by losing family members in this accident, but those that were also injured and those that are still missing. It is a tough day for Louisville, for Kentucky. It's a tough day as being a Kentuckian myself, and I know what a great community this is, how impactful those people that suffered and have died are. And we've seen it all day. We know it is tearing at the community, and we're deeply sorry. And we are here to try to find out not only what happened, but why it happened, and more importantly, how do we prevent it from happening again. So here is some factual information we have at this time, and I'm going to read a few notes to make sure we have it exact. The airplane involved was a McDonnell Douglas II, which was then altered to be an MD-11F. The F stands for freighter. It is now handled by the Boeing Corporation. So whenever you hear that Boeing is a party, it is because of the merger with McDonnell Douglas many years ago. The plane was manufactured in 1991 with a tail number of November 259 UP. The plane was traveling from Louisville, Kentucky to Honolulu, Hawaii. There were 3 souls on board the plane. After being cleared for takeoff, a large plume of fire in the area of the left wing occurred during the takeoff roll. The plane lifted off and gained enough altitude to clear the fence at the end of runway 17R. Shortly after clearing that fence, it made impact with structures and the terrain off of the airport property. A post-impact fire ensued, which covers approximately almost a half of a mile. Now, we have viewed airport CCTV security coverage, which shows the left engine detaching from the wing during the takeoff roll. This and other videos, along with evidence we are finding, are a very valuable asset to our investigators in helping us hone further which areas we were going to be focusing on as we move into further days of the investigation. Now, let me tell you a little bit about our process at the NTSB. What we will do is analyze the facts, determine the probable cause of this accident, and then issue a report on those recommendations. Now, the investigator in charge of this is with me here. It's Chi-Hoon Shin, who has been with the NTSB for 13 years. He is one of our more senior investigators, and in fact was leading one of the groups during the DCA crash. He has a number of other individuals with them. We have approximately 28 from our headquarters and other locations that are either on the ground or will be here before the end of the day. They're also being supported by dozens of individuals at our headquarters in Washington, D.C. and other field offices. As part of this investigation, we will be forming specific groups. And when we form a group, it will be a focus area led by an NTSB individual, along with subject matter experts that are in that field that can provide expertise to help analyze the evidence. Our current groups that are being formed are operations. They will review the history of the accident flight and the crew members' duties for as many days before the crash that appear relevant. Our structures group will document the airframe wreckage, the accident scene, including the calculation of the impact angles to help determine the plane's pre-impact course and altitude. We also have a power plants group. They will work on the examination of the engines and engine accessories. We have a systems group. They will study the components of the plane's hydraulic, electrical, pneumatic, and associated systems, together with the instruments and elements of the flight control system. Now, outside of that group, we have also brought in, and another group that we'll have will be maintenance, which will obviously be looking at maintenance records, any work that's been done on this plane for as long as back as needed. We are also bringing in specialists in air traffic control, human performance, aircraft performance, recorders, government relations, media relations. And in addition to our investigators, we have brought 5 of our transportation disaster assistance team. They will be dealing with the survivors, the families, and others under what we call a federally legislated accident from the 1996 Family Assistance Act. Now, tonight we will be holding an organizational meeting and establishing parties to our investigation. Because we're very new into it, we will not be announcing the parties at this moment, but they will obviously be manufacturers of the aircraft, operators of the aircraft, unions representing some of the members. We'll have more details for on that probably tomorrow during a briefing. Now, the NTSB offers this party status to those companies, government agencies, and associations that have employees or activities or equipment involved in the accident. And we offer this because they have subject matter expertise and technical expertise and relevant information to help support the development of the best possible report. Now, once a party joins an NTSB investigation, they are not permitted to release documents or talk publicly about the investigation without the consent of the NTSB. Now, you can rest assured right now all of the parties or potential parties are complying with that requirement, and they're cooperating fully with the NTSB investigators. Again, it will be only the NTSB that will release information regarding this accident going forward. Tomorrow will be our first full day on scene. Our investigative teams, we anticipate, will be here at least a week, if not longer. Our mission, again, is to understand not only what happened, but why it happened, and recommend changes to prevent it from happening again. We will not be determining the probable cause while we are here on scene, nor will we speculate about what may have caused this. Now, since we're just beginning with the investigation, we don't have more factual information to give you at this time, but we believe over the next couple of days we'll be able to unveil a little bit further for you. I do want to also mention this just happened in the last basically 30 minutes. We have identified the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. This is what is commonly referred to as a black box. We have investigators now that have located it. As you can imagine, it is in it's suffered some heat, not intrusion, but heat around it. The These recorders are built for that. And just before we get the question, these recorders were updated from its original manufacturer. They are L3 Harris, installed at 2 different dates. We're going back and verifying that. But we feel comfortable once we get these to our lab in D.C. that we will be able to get a good readout of the applicable data, and that will be yet another point of information that will really help us understand what happened during this point of flight. So I would ask, though, if you have the opportunity to let the public know, we know there's a lot of debris out there. And it's in some yards, it's in some business locations. If you can have any debris or you see something that you think is from an aircraft, please contact us at the email address witness@ntsb.gov. Again, that email address is witness@ntsb.gov. Sometimes we get some very good information from items that are found, and with a debris field a half-mile long, we're still making the determination of exactly where and what parts of the airplane and where they're at. Now, be happy to take a few questions. Again, we're limited in the information. When you do, please tell me who you're with and what your name is. Tom, you made the trip.
Thank you, sir. Member Inman, can you talk about a photo that we've seen and video as well of what appears to be an engine sitting on the side of a road or on the road? Is that, in fact, do you believe that's the #1 left side engine? And separately, you talked about the black boxes that you've identified them, and they should be able to withstand heat, but can you describe what they look like and what, if any, marks, sear marks, black marks there are on those black boxes?
Okay, the first question was basically the engine that's been seen in some photographs. We do believe that that is the engine from the left side of the plane. It is actually on the airfield, so it's not off the airport property. That correlates with the video that we've seen of it detaching from the airplane while it is in flight. We also know that a fire was occurring during that time, and so we're analyzing that. In fact, we have teams right now that are preparing to do the runway in what we call a FOD walk. That is foreign object debris. Obviously, the runways have been shut down, but we need to not only take drone coverage and video coverage of where every piece of this evidence is, but then we need to recover it and tag it, and those will give us even more pieces of information. So right now, it's still on the field. We're making arrangements for that evidence to be recovered and stored in a secure location, and once we are able to analyze it, we may need to ship it off for specialists for things like that, but we do feel comfortable that we're going to get a lot of good information from it. What was your second part?
Jeff, can you describe the physical condition, what you saw, how those black boxes actually look?
The physical condition of the black boxes. I've only seen one picture. You could easily tell that it was a black box, about 2 types of cylinders on top. Our specialists said they were able to easily identify that. We don't know until it gets to Washington, D.C. I will tell you that they're manufactured to a very specific standard. Luckily, they were not in a post-impact fire for multiple days or on the bottom of the ocean. So while the fire may have been intense, it is built to withstand that. And once we get them to D.C. and we can open them up and take these steps, and sometimes we have to take multiple steps. Now, it will be multiple, or at least several days before we have a readout of those, because as we take them apart, we need to let some of our groups go through and do what's called audition them. And then they'll come up with a potential or partial transcript looking for identifying markers that we need to delve into further while we're on the ground. So, and as always, we will never be releasing the actual audio of any of those conversations out of respect for those who are involved in the aircraft. Yes, sir.
Alex Capriello with News Nation. While the black boxes and the data recorders are certainly built to withstand heat and exposure and the sort of catastrophe that occurred here, can you give us an idea about the rest of the aircraft, the fuselage, if anything exists, and then perhaps even larger point, the difficulty for you and your investigators when there is a debris field that's half a mile long?
So the question is how the rest of the fuselage, the airplane, as it rests right now, what we may have seen, and how it impacts the investigation. We've seen some aerial videos and some photographs. The emergency management here, along with the first responders, have done an amazing job. We've been working with them since we've gotten on the ground. They have some command posts set up, and I just want to applaud them for not only the work they've done and the work they are doing and the courtesies they're providing us, along with the UPS staff and everyone here at the airport. But to answer the ultimate question, there are a lot of different parts of this airplane in different places. I mean, whenever you have a post-impact to not only structures but also to the terrain, you have to analyze why it came there, and then how do you recover it correctly in order to analyze it. So I can't give you a real good definition of what it is. There's a lot of different parts. It doesn't complicate it to where it's not recoverable. A mile and a half, a half a mile is a pretty large distance, but we have to be very cautious. The main thing we're also worried about are the safety of not only the investigators, but the first responders that are there. We know that there's been some shelter in places in the area. We also know that while the fire departments were working throughout the night, there were occasionally little flare-ups in different spots. So they're having to constantly monitor that to make sure it's safe for someone to get in. So it may not be the length of the debris field. It may be where the debris field is in, say, a recycling facility or another location, and the amount, of course, fuel that the plane was carrying. Those can all add to the complexity of an investigation. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Jackie Bell from the Epic Times. Is there a chance that staffing shortages caused by the government shutdown in any capacity could be tied to this?
So the question was, are we aware of any staffing shortages because of the government shutdown? We are not at this time. SDF Tower, from what we can see and what we've been told, was at its proper complement. I don't have the exact records, but I will put you to the fact that we have formed groups in areas that we're focusing information on. We have not formed an ATC group. We have specialists in that, but at this point it has not elevated itself to the point to where we feel they need an entire working group. And I would go back to the same thing in regard to the shutdown. Our investigators have been working since the day it started. The shutdown occurred. I've been working every day since then. We've only recalled a few individuals yesterday just to handle some of the logistics of our travel and our movements. But we have everyone we need and then some in order to make sure we're performing this investigation. Yes, sir.
Dave Mattingly, Wade News in Louisville. I'm looking for some context. How rare is it that you see a plane with this much fuel on it going down and creating the fire that we saw here?
Okay, so the question is how much fire in regard to this fuel load, and how in the United States we don't see it very much, which is great, and it means that the recommendations, we've made over 15,000 recommendations in our 65-year history. We have about an 82% success ratio. We have a mantra that used to be in front of our training facility, and it's from tragedy we draw knowledge to improve the safety for all. And so for every tragedy we've had, we draw more knowledge, and we try to learn from that. And we hope that we don't repeat the same mistakes. So in this case, I'm sure we're going to learn some new things. We're going to make some recommendations and some findings. What they are yet, we do not know. But I would say a freighter that's fully loaded, that's going to Honolulu, is going to have a large amount of fuel. And that obviously was part of the post-accident response. Yes, sir.
What's the rotating speed of a fully fueled MD-11? How fast is it going to take off?
The question was, what is the rotation speed?
Takeoff speed.
Takeoff speed? 175, 180?
Off the top of my head.
I don't have the exact figures for you. I apologize. I'm not a pilot. We will be looking at that. Typically, you're looking at speeds in the 150s to 180s, 190s, but I don't want to give you a definitive number because I would be guessing. And some of those are based upon exactly what's occurring at what point of flight that it's occurring. So there's a lot of different things that go into it in addition to the weight and balance. All of these have been mapped out over decades to specifically know how much thrust and speed is needed to obtain lift and to achieve it, and if necessary, to do an emergency diversion. So we've had a lot of experience with that. I don't know at this point if it will be a factor, but it's certainly something we'll look at. Yes, sir.
Dylan Lovin, Associated Press. Was this flight delayed, and was maintenance being done on this flight before it took off?
So the question was this flight delayed, or was maintenance being done before that? We, as part of the maintenance group, they will be going back and looking at every aspect of maintenance that was done on this plane and how many cycles since it's occurred. To date, UPS has indicated to us that it was not delayed and that there was not maintenance work done immediately before. Now, again, that is information that we will still collaborate and independently verify, but at least by first glance, we do not see that happening. I know it's been reported some places, but we have not found something to lead us into looking at an immediate pre-takeoff.
2 more questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you aware of any airworthiness directives that were out regarding MD-11 or the engine manufacturers?
The question is in regard to airworthiness directives regarding the engine or the actual aircraft. I'm not aware of any. We go through a very regimented process of things that we view and try to review: maintenance records, airworthiness directives, advisory circulars, service bulletins. To say that there's none would be probably very unlikely, because an aircraft that's been flying for that many years could have had multiple different generations. It will be something that we'll look at. We'll be confirming whether the work was done or how it was done and who did it. But at this point, we have not seen anything that's said we need to hone in on a specific area. One more question? Yes, sir.
Tom Regulus, WHAS here in Louisville. How much of your investigation focuses on the runway itself here at SDF, and will the runway remain shut down as you continue to investigate?
So the question is in regard to how much of our investigation will focus on the runway and how long it will be shut down. The runway itself, from what we have seen, was obviously being used continually. Louisville has a lot of operations every day. They have a really great crew that works on their operations, maintenance, and upkeep. We'll be looking at any type of factors, such as when they last did a FOD scan or whether there was good skid, whatever. A lot of different things go into the actual pavement. So right now, we're not seeing something that says we need to open up an airport working group. In regard to the closure of the runway, we're very cognizant. I mean, I was here 4 months ago meeting with the safety staff. They invited me up, got to talk to the president of UPS Airlines and all of their safety staff. We were walking through a lot of different scenarios. And one of the things that struck me was, not only is this a company that moves freight, they are delivering life-saving drugs, postal products, food, supplements, you name it, that come through this hub every night. And so we've been emphasizing the need to make sure we're getting every piece of perishable evidence and doing it in the most diligent way, but at the same time understanding that this investigation could slow down a lot of important products, not just for this company, but for Americans across the country and across the world. And I think we have to be cognizant of that. That's the reason why we were working so diligently today to try to do the mapping and to get the FOD walk. In regard to actually keeping the runway shut down, we do not shut down runways. As the airport authority, obviously they have been working with us in a great fashion and are trying to do everything they can to make sure we have the information. But we are hopeful that we can turn over at least one of the runways shortly, and as soon as possible the other runway, while still preserving all the evidence. Thank you very much.
The timeline, when you might have a preliminary report out?
That's Todd Inman from the National Transportation Safety Board briefing reporters on the incident that happened yesterday, the spectacular crash of a UPS cargo plane in Louisville, Kentucky. This was an MD-11 freighter. According to the NTSB, it was manufactured back in 1991, traveling from Louisville to Honolulu, according to the NTSB, with 3 people on board. The officials said that there was fire coming from the left wing of the aircraft. It only got several feet into the air before crashing into the ground in that huge fireball just past the fence of the runway. They are bringing experts in at every level to examine exactly what happened here. But perhaps the bit of breaking news from this news conference is that they are in possession of both the flight voice recorder and the data recorder, which Inman said are now on their way to Washington, D.C. to be taken apart and analyzed on many different levels. He said it may be several days before we get any kind of information about what happened, both from a technical standpoint and the conversation in the cockpit among pilots. But the result was just a devastating crash that was caught on camera from so many angles. Inman saying that the video footage from the incident is helping them inform the direction of their investigation. But again, just a catastrophic failure on so many levels involving on this MD-11 freighter operated by UPS. Let's get out to Asher Red, who's live in Louisville, Kentucky for us this afternoon. Asher, I know you were listening to that news conference as well. One question was, is that airport and the runways on it going to reopen anytime soon? He said, we don't open runways, airport officials do, but just give me a sense of exactly what's happening there and what you've heard about the investigation.
Well, Tom, the airport is open and people are coming in to fly out and fly into this airport. Maybe about 15 minutes ago, we saw a UPS Boeing 747 take off just over my shoulder, and they're using a different runway. And like you said, about 30 minutes ago, the NTSB did recover the black box of that aircraft. That'll uncover a whole trove of information that they can use then for this investigation to figure out what actually went wrong to cause what we all saw yesterday through social media. I'm sure if you saw it through a video or an image, but this plane had more than 200,000 pounds of jet fuel on it when it crashed, and that caused a massive fireball. And people from miles away were able to see the smoke from this crash, and it went very high up into the air and blew north. The smoke was so thick that it was caught up on weather radar. That's the kind of catastrophe and damage we're talking about. And of course, 2 businesses were hit. Right now, the death toll is at about 9 people, and the governor says that it could get higher. 16 people are still missing right now, and there are search and rescue crews out there who say they are going, quote, grid by grid, hoping to find any survivors and any victims.
You're right. We saw so many different angles of that crash from people, whether it was on their dash cams or from CCTV footage or what have you. What might you know about what that impact site looks like right now, and the search for what may be, survivors or other victims? We know the death toll stands, from what I last read, was at 11 people, and they fear that there may be more victims out there. Can you tell us about the investigation on the ground?
Yeah, well, I was at as close as I could get to the crash site earlier today. The Louisville Police Department has it. They have a perimeter set around that area, and you can't get anywhere close to it. But I can say that we saw emergency vehicles going in and out. This morning, the state of emergency was declared by the governor, and then also a perimeter that was around that crash site was reduced down to a quarter-mile radius of where that plane landed, on top of the Kentucky Petroleum building, as well as an auto parts store nearby. So the search is still on for people who might still be missing, and of course anyone else who may be unaccounted for.
And I know that you guys get to these scenes sort of after they happen. You got to wire up and get on TV to talk to the local affiliates. But have you been able to talk to anybody in that area who might have seen the plane go down, or just people who live around that crash site and their reaction to what happened there?
Yeah, well, we did speak with some people, especially yesterday. We spoke with someone with our Fox Digital team, and she lives about 7 minutes away from the airport. She said she could hear the main explosion and then a series of explosions after that, which she thinks could be maybe some fuel tanks at the petroleum building that the plane landed on or crashed on top of. She said she heard that, she saw the smoke, and she was concerned about what might be in the air after that, and that's what the governor has been warning people of, and that's one of the reasons why they have the perimeter they do, and the stay in the shelter-in-place order as well.
Wow, just catastrophic, as you say, on so many levels. Asher Red reporting for us from Louisville in the aftermath of that UPS crash. Asher, thanks. When we continue here, we're going to check in on the national election that happened yesterday in at least 2 states and 1 major city, that is New York City, and the consequences of that election for Republicans and even one of our own local races as we continue on Fox Local. We'll be right back. Back now with you streaming here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. You just heard from the NTSB after the UPS plane crash in Louisville yesterday with an update on the investigation and where things stand there. Want to move on now to something that a lot of you are talking about. That is the government shutdown. As you take a look at live pictures from the White House and Capitol Hill as, lawmakers try to reopen the government through any means possible, because it is now the longest government shutdown in U.S. history as we enter day 36 now. It's disrupted the lives of millions of Americans who receive government aid in the form of SNAP benefits. Those have been curtailed. Local food banks have been forced to step up their efforts to help get food on people's tables. President Trump says that he's not going to meet with Democrat lawmakers until they can agree on a framework of sorts on terms to meet, and that is extensions on Obamacare subsidies and what have you. But the stalemate continues on Capitol Hill. We've not heard anything to the contrary at this point, although the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, came out. This is a Senate issue, okay? We gotta open the government through the United States Senate, but the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, came out not too long ago to speak about the status of negotiations.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you this morning. Good morning. Joining us today, as you can see, are some of the rising stars in our party. These are Republican members of the sophomore class. They're in their second term. Many of them have been working so hard for the last several weeks in their districts, trying to help their constituents navigate the chaoses that have been created by the Democrat shutdown. We're now on day 36, and it is a sad landmark in our history. This is the longest shutdown of any government in our history. And they've also made history in a number of ways, which we've recounted every day in our daily press conferences. Remember, this is the first time in the history of America that any party has had the audacity to close down the government over a totally clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution. I said yesterday, and I'm being honest, none of us imagined that we would be here at this moment. We couldn't have imagined that Democrats would be willing to force families to go hungry and workers to miss paychecks for 5 weeks on end, 50 days plus, and we never did imagine that they would be willing to use the pain of American families with such reckless disregard. But that is what we are seeing, and it is unconscionable. Despite the 15 opportunities they have now had to reopen the government, they have voted 15 times to keep it closed. That is the number that everyone has to pay attention to. All the Americans who are hurting because of this. They need to understand Republicans have voted 15 times to open your government, and the Democrats have voted 15 times to close it. They voted to deny paychecks to workers, to stop the flow of SNAP funds to hungry families, and all the rest. And still, somehow, they have the audacity to go on national television and gaslight the American people and try to pretend that somehow the Republican Party has some blame in this. It's the most outrageous example of political gaslighting that we have ever seen. And day after day, they have claimed, without any merit at all, this shutdown is somehow about health care. It's a blatant lie, and they know it. They tried to string together two totally unrelated issues: the expiration of the Obamacare COVID subsidies and the basic funding of the federal government. Those are two totally distinct things. Republicans have always been willing to have a conversation about the COVID-era subsidies and how to make Obamacare and health care more affordable. But we will not, and we should not do so as hostages in their political game. It was in no way necessary or appropriate to shut down the government in order to have bipartisan discussions about the subsidies. The reality is the Democrats could have avoided all of this chaos and all the pain, everything they've inflicted on American families, by simply voting to back the clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution, the 24-page simple document, just as they did 13 times under the Biden administration. They could have passed that 47 days ago. After the House did it, we did our work and sent it over there. And we would have had all these negotiations and continued. I'm gonna wrap this up and tell you again why. The big question is why. Why would the Democrats have the audacity to do this? As we summarized so simply yesterday, and we will do so every day, They are motivated out of fear. The Democrats shut down the government out of fear.
All right, that's House Speaker Mike Johnson speaking this morning on the steps of the United States Capitol. On the morning after Democrats scored 3 major victories in an election that happened last night. Zoran Mandami, one of them in New York City, winning a convincing lead over former Governor Cuomo. And some believe this is kind of a revival of sorts, if you will, for a party that kind of lost its way. Democrat Socialist Mandami ushering in a new era of progressive left politics for the nation's largest city. And some are speculating the Democrats now have momentum leading into midterm elections next year, where the House of Representatives will hang in the balance, and it will sort of determine the direction, if you will, of the remaining 2 years of the Trump administration. The new New York City mayor-elect speaking last night, delivering a fiery victory speech.
I will work every day to honor the trust that I now hold. The poetry of campaigning may have come to a close last night at 9, but the beautiful prose of governing has only just begun. The hard work of improving New Yorkers' lives starts now. That process begins with transition. In the coming months, I and my team will build a city hall capable of delivering on the promises of this campaign. We will form an administration that is in equal parts capable and compassionate, driven by integrity, and willing to work just as hard as the millions of New Yorkers who call this city home. And central to that effort is a transition team that is defined by the excellence New Yorkers will soon come to expect from government. Our team will be directed by Ilana Leopold, whose roots in this city extend back to her grandmother running the trams on Roosevelt Island. She has extensive experience in city government and has been a key part of our campaign to become the next mayor of this city. And it will be led by our formidable co-chairs, former Federal Trade Commissioner Chair Lena Khan, former First Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer, United Way President and CEO Grace Bonilla, and former Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services Melanie Hartzog. Over the coming days, we'll start announcing the leaders who will implement our agenda. People like deputy mayors who oversee entire areas of government, and the commissioners who carry out the critical work of city agencies. Some of these people will have familiar names, others will not. What will unite them will be a commitment to solving old problems with new solutions. We will cast a wide net. We will speak to the organizers on the front lines of the fight to improve our city, government veterans with proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world, and working people who know better than anyone what their neighborhoods need. Throughout this campaign, I have worked hard to be accessible and transparent with New Yorkers. That same spirit will animate this transition and the city hall we build, because New Yorkers deserve a government that they can trust. And on January 1st, when our city celebrates the inauguration of a new administration, let us also celebrate a new era for our city.
All right, Zoran Mandani, the New York City mayor-elect, speaking there in the day after he was convincingly elected as the new New York City mayor. Locally, we had some big elections taking place here, too. Andre Dickens easily winning re-election as Atlanta's mayor. That race called early in the night. Voters also delivering significant shifts in the 2025 Georgia Public Service Commission special election, electing a couple of Democrats in both District 2 and 3, unseating longtime Republican incumbents. No candidate won South Fulton's mayoral race with more than 50% of the vote, forcing a runoff between Carmelathea Gumbs and Mark Baker. So Gumbs leads with 39% of the vote, followed by Baker with 19%. Current Mayor Khalid Kobikamu, who faces ongoing legal issues, registered in the single digits. When we come back, we're going to talk about something that you may have encountered on the Atlanta Beltline, those bikes speeding by you, almost running into people. Well, now some people want to make special lanes for those bikes and the scooters that use the Beltline. We're going to talk about that when we come back. that video was like, I think of a... Hey, Eric, it's Tom.
Hey, Tom, this is
How are
Eric.
you? Hey. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haines, live with you here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Certainly appreciate you watching on our streaming app, Fox Local, on your mobile device or on your home TV, or if you're listening to us on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM, or on our YouTube channel. We're certainly glad you're here with us this afternoon. You know, there's a petition going around for the Atlanta Beltline. If you've been out on the Beltline on a busy weekend, you know, there's not only tons of people out there, but there's bikers, there's people on scooters, and sometimes you feel like these people are going to run right into you. Well, now this petition is calling for lanes for these scooters and bikes, and our Eric Perry is out there standing on the Beltline. Eric, tell us more about this petition.
Yeah, so Tom, I think about that all the time, especially if you're in the moments between Piedmont Park and going down to Croc Street. That's where this one man is focusing on. So it's really quiet where I'm at. I'm on the west side, just where we were shooting and getting the interview and stuff behind me. But what this man wants to do is 3 different parts there. Take a listen. He wants to make a change. He's doing this petition right now. They have about 340, 350 signatures. They're trying to get to 500, and they're reaching out to the mayor's office. But take a look and listen to his plan of what he would like to see happen.
So when you go on the Beltline, you sometimes find yourself passed by somebody going 20 miles per hour on an e-bike. And that's not good for them, it's not good for us, meaning pedestrians, it's not good for children and pets. So first thing, clear signage that allows people to kind of tell each other, hey, you're going too fast, or people to self-enforce rules. Second proposal is to put a painted line in the middle of the Beltline with directions of transit. And the third one is to separate wheels and heels. And I know this is more controversial. There are people in favor and people against it, but I think it's the wrong approach to discuss the rail before having solved this problem. So first we solve the problem of the current Beltline, which is let's ensure it's available for all as a place of opportunity, and then let's discuss if it makes sense to add the rail. You can't have that discussion until you've made the current Beltline a place of safety and an opportunity for pedestrians and wheeled vehicles.
All right, yeah, so gave a little bit more than what I wanted you to hear because I'm talking about some of that at the 6 o'clock hour there, but that last part, he was talking about the proposal to bring in the rail line on the side of the belt line. He thinks that that is a little bit too early. They need to figure out the separation between the motorized bikes and the scooters first, and then later on talk about that rail line there. But again, he's really talking, Tom, about the area between Krog Street Market and Piedmont. That I think of when we talk about the belt line, that's what many people really think about, especially on a Saturday morning. I don't know. I know you run. I'm not sure if you run that particular section, but it's just so many people there, and then you have the scooters going in and out there. So he wants to see something done specifically as we head toward FIFA, people coming out and just making it safe for everyone out there.
I'll bet you, Eric, a lot of people have actually gotten hurt colliding with those scooters or bicycles on a crowded day on the Beltline. So my question to you is, what are the chances of somebody who puts up a petition and it actually getting executed or implemented out there?
You know, it's interesting, as I was working on this story, we got an email about Beltline etiquette. That's happening tomorrow. So there are going to be different pop-up spots there along the Beltline. So they're going to be talking about people just sharing the Beltline. This has nothing to do with this petition. So this was already in the works. So many people, I think, all having the same type of idea there. So I do think this will get some traction. He says that he is going to go to the city council as well. And then he says he's been emailing Mayor Dickens' office. So I think that this might be taken seriously because of just the amount of people who have seen it. And if you've ever been on a scooter, one time I was riding a scooter on the Beltline in that area, I saw that Lyft, which is the one that I use, they have some sort of restriction for the speed limit, so you can't go full speed on that. Right. So I do think that this is a talker, and I would be very shocked if it wasn't taken seriously at some point.
It is a talker, especially since, as you said, so many people use the Beltline. We got the big FIFA World Cup coming to town where like thousands and thousands of people are going to be pumped into our city. And it seems that this Beltline loop or link around our city and happening other places, even up in Alpharetta and Georgia 400, are so critically important to newly Mayor-elect Andre Dickens in his next term. That's been one of his flagship goals and ambitions, is to connect the city. So it's interesting. If something has to be done, then it has to be done out there. Eric Perry, live for us. Eric, thanks. There's a great program underway at Georgia Tech right now. They're always on the cusp of innovation, and they're trying to teach students there about agricultural AI, how the two go together. We're going to talk about that when we come back from the break. Welcome back. So glad you're with us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haines, live with you in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. You know, AI is so remarkable on so many levels. It's literally touching every facet of society. Georgia Tech is one of the leaders in AI technology. Chris Rosenthal is out there. Chris, you're specifically talking about tools which students are learning to use that involve AI for agricultural needs. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, AI seems to be touching a bit, all aspects of life these days, and including farming. And I don't know if you can see behind me. I'll actually turn around here. This is the farm bot over here, and they're using it here on this bed here of basil here, just basically doing some watering here. And I am joined by Storm Norman Robinson here from the seismic department here at Georgia Tech. And tell me about this machine and how you guys are using AI here to help in the agricultural field.
So this is a very cool, engaging way to motivate students to get involved with computer science, AI, using this farm bot here. And what we're doing is we're building learning experiences around this farm bot and their crops to give them a real-world experience around agriculture, precision tech, precision farming, really build up those skills that are really needed today to address those concerns about AI and computer science.
And talk to me, I mean, what is this? How is it programmed? What's it doing now, and what can it do?
So we have our operator and programmer here, Marissa Gardner. She's programmed the robot to water the plants in a way that is best and most efficient for them to get the amount of water that they need. And then we also have other capabilities. We have weed detection and weed removal. We can do seeding and also moisture sensors. So after it does its watering, we can go back and see if the waters or the plants have been watered to the sufficient levels.
And it kind of detects this and does it on its own, and it does seeding and a little bit of everything, and weeds, and it learns.
It learns, especially through machine learning and AI. You can do crop optimization. You can even look at soil, even get down to doing soil health.
Cool. Well, this is really remarkable. They've rolled this out in 19 different school districts across 19 schools across the state for students to learn.
I need one of those in my backyard.
This.
That is going to revolutionize agriculture and farming when it hits the market. Chris Rosenthal at Georgia Tech. Chris, thanks. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. The news continues right here, right now.
Fox 5 News at 4 starts right now.
A huge upset in the Public Service Commission races, how Democrats and Republicans have reacted to the surprising victories. And things have gotten testy on Capitol Hill following last night's election, what President Trump told Republican leaders. But first, a family prepares to bury their loved one this weekend as a result of a triple shooting that ended in the murder of a young mom. Thanks so much for joining us. For Fox 5 News at 4, I'm Christine Spiro. For the first time, the victim's mother, who is a survivor of the shooting herself, is talking publicly. Fox 5's Kevin Stewart joins us live from the Carrollton Police Department with their story tonight. Kevin?
Yeah, there's been a late development. A fourth suspect has been arrested. That coming this afternoon. Police say what you have here is a group of suspects, 4 men who are all armed. They know they were exchanging gunfire, and the victim, who is nearby, was hit and killed. Who fired the fatal shot is unclear, but because they were all armed and shots were fired, all are charged with murder.
They shot me, but that's the thing I don't understand.
Kathy Cheek survived the Sunday morning attack, hit by several bullets here on 6th Street in Carrollton.
What was going on was basically nonsense. Stuff that could have been avoided. People were toting guns.
And her cousin, who's like a sister, 26-year-old Larry Ann Brown, was shot to death.
She was just amazing.
Brown, a mom of 3, died at the scene.
Lele helped put together family reunions, barbecues. Lele was there for her younger siblings when her mama was sick.
Praying them to be making arrangements like this for me. Not me making arrangements. Not me.
Qualisha Lowry is the matriarch, but Lele, as her family liked to call her, was up next. Lowry says her daughter was already truly the rock.
I wake up crying because of her. And then some days I wake up crying because of anger. I'm trying not to let buildings take over. This is my baby down wrong. My baby didn't do my baby like that.
These are the suspects charged with her murder. Sintez Worthy, Jamine Hutchinson, Zontavious Vaughn, and Jeriquez Lowry just picked up this afternoon. Police say there was an exchange of gunfire amongst them, killing the victim.
She was just having the best time of her best time. And that earlier that day was her daughter's birthday. She wasn't nowhere in the mix of nobody's drama.
Now, this family has banded together, planning a weekend funeral and waiting on justice.
So I'll tell you, put my baby to rest. That's when I'm gonna work on that.
And the family has set up a GoFundMe in Ms. Lowry's name. We can also tell you that police continue to investigate this case. I said this is not over. If you know anything, they want to hear from you. Going live in Carrollton, Carroll County, Kevin Stewart, Fox 5 News.
Family clearly going through so much pain over this. Kevin, thanks so much. New at 4, Crime Stoppers is offering a $5,000 reward in an armed robbery. Police are looking for the 2 men on your screen who they say robbed the victim on MLK Drive back on June 13th. The victim told police he had just exited the bus when he was approached by 5 men who surrounded him. 2 of the men attacked him and attempted to steal his phone. They failed and took his phone charger instead. If you recognize the men, you are asked to contact Crime Stoppers. Turning to our elections now, a big night for Georgia Democrats with a huge upset in the Public Service Commission race. Democrats won 2 seats on the PSC. Republicans and Democrats are reacting to the stunning outcome of the statewide election. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live at the state capitol with more now. Deidre?
That's right. Georgia's PSC race garnering national attention and getting strong reaction here at home after those very big wins by Democrats last night.
Georgia's a purple state, and the election results last night proved it. We're trending towards becoming a more blue state.
In a major upset Tuesday, Democratic candidates Alicia Johnson and Peter Hubbard won 2 seats on the Public Service Commission, defeating Republican incumbents.
Now, what we got to do is how do you sustain that momentum, coupled with fundraising and having a message that helps people in May of 2026.
The resounding victory has garnered strong reaction from state Democratic and Republican leadership.
The outcome being determined by the organic turnout in municipal elections, that was a huge benefit for Democrats.
Republican strategist Brian Robinson has been warning for months this might be the possible outcome.
Georgia is a competitive state, And if the environment is in your favor, it's going to be hard for you to lose in Georgia. I don't think this is a lesson that Republicans have fully learned here yet.
Robinson said Republicans must be very strategic heading into the 2026 midterms if they want to maintain their advantage on the state level.
There are many reasons why Republicans lost in Georgia on Tuesday. And it's not all because of an anti-Republican sentiment. But you can't miss this takeaway. Democrats can win in Georgia. Republicans can't put up any old boob and think they're going to win just because there's an R behind their name.
Democratic strategist Theron Johnson said Democrats' strong showing across the country on Election Day signals trouble for Republicans.
We're now in this bad economy. Inflation is still high. The tariffs didn't work. We got people in Georgia right now who are hungry. Folks are losing their health care. Hospitals are closing. All of these things came to the front of mind for voters when they went in there early to vote and also on Election Day.
Now, both sides will be breaking down data from the PSC race for that important voter insight heading into next year's midterms. At the state capitol, Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
All right, Deidre, thank you so much. It was a big night.
Post 1 Mayor, Jelani Linder.
And the sound of victory in Stone Mountain as candidates celebrated their wins in last night's election. 4 new candidates will fill seats in City Hall. Jelani Linder was voted as the city's mayor. Hubert Jordan was elected to City Council Post 5. Elaine Vaughn will fill the seat in City Council 6 and Kay Nunez in Post 4. Last night, the mayor-elect addressed his supporters.
Tonight is a night that we start moving forward. So we start moving forward as a unit, as we start moving forward as a group, as we start believing in something more than just what the past was, but we start to believe in the future.
Current Mayor Beverly Jones has been the center of controversy. She's accused of violating her oath of office by taking control of city bank accounts, a claim she denies. The newly elected officials say they are ready to move Stone Mountain forward and to change the narrative around the city. Our election coverage continues. Later this hour, we'll have a look at the South Fulton mayor's race as it heads to a runoff. Well, a tough night for Republicans as Democrats grabbed several key wins in New York, Virginia, and New Jersey. Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani was elected as New York City's mayor. He promised to deliver on a seismic shakeup for the city and beyond. In New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill won a tight race for governor. And in Virginia, Abigail Spanberger also picked up a gubernatorial win. That's a state where a concentration of federal workers angry over the shutdown may have helped widen the margin. In California, Proposition 50, which redraws the state's congressional districts along partisan lines, passed. It could cost Republicans 5 seats next year.
And tonight, after poking the bear, this bear roared with an unprecedented turnout in a special election with an extraordinary result.
This morning, President Trump laid into Senate Republicans, telling them that the ongoing government shutdown cost the GOP votes in yesterday's elections. Now the president is making an even stronger push for Republicans to get rid of the filibuster and move full speed ahead with his agenda.
If you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation. There'll be no legislation passed.
There are signs that negotiators could be making some progress. Some lawmakers say they're cautiously optimistic a deal could be reached by the end of the week, but the Democrats claim it all depends on the White House. Talks are focused on a new continuing resolution that would fund the government through January. Let's give you an update on your weather forecast as we take a live look over Sandy Springs right now. The King and Queen building looking nice out there with all the sunshine. Another, again, nice day this week. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy joining us here again with a look at the forecast.
Another nice day. We're starting to add up around here, but some big changes are on the way, Christine. So let's get ready because the roller coaster, we're at the top of it right now, but all things must come down. As we get deeper into the week, we will find out those changes will be here and in full steam. But right now, it's all about the sunshine that is out and about, and it's helped warm temperatures into the 70s. Right now, we sit at 75 degrees here in Atlanta, 75 for Lawrenceville, 75 even as you make your way down to Jonesboro, 75 from Greenville, 76 there in Monticello. Let's see if we can find a 75 up north. Cartersville, 75, the same for Commerce. Even coming in at 76 degrees there in Clayton. It's been a beautiful day. Once again, clouds hard to find. Dew Point is starting to eke up a bit on the backs of a southwesterly flow of wind. That's helped usher in a little bit more moisture, but it's also helped really lift that temperature. In fact, we're about 5 degrees warmer than we were this time yesterday. In terms of the remainder of the late afternoon going into the evening period, remember the sun goes down during the 5 o'clock hour. You'll notice that even if you don't remember, 71 degrees, and then into the 60s and 50s we'll go. I think we'll hold it here in the lower 50s in the city, but outside the perimeter, you'll easily visit the 40s to kick off your Thursday morning. Marietta, 46 degrees, 46 in South Fulton. Go out to Monticello, 47 degrees, the same for our friends over in Eaton. Franklin, 46 degrees. And can we call on any 30s for the mountains? Yes, I think we'll drop down to about 39 degrees here in Blairsville, but you don't stay there for long. Thursday is your last problem-free day in terms of weather from beginning till end, because by Friday night, we'll be watching northwest Georgia as storms come across the Alabama and Tennessee state line. Some of those storms could pack some damaging wind gusts as they move southward into the metro area and out to the east. Unfortunately, this is not just a one-night, one-day affair. We have rain chances in the forecast for the remainder of the weekend, and then next week, a big drop in the temperatures. I'm covering it all on my complete Fox 5 Storm Team forecast.
All right, Jonathan, thanks so much. At least 9 people are dead after a fiery cargo plane crash at the airport in Louisville, Kentucky Tuesday. At least 3 people from a Louisville auto part and metal recycling facility remain missing. The National Transportation Safety Board says it has recovered 2 black boxes belonging to the aircraft. The boxes contain the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. Authorities say the aircraft was only in the air for several minutes before the devastating crash. The plane, bound for Honolulu and fully loaded with fuel, shredded the roof of one large building before erupting into a fireball near a metal recycling business.
Following yesterday's events, I'm declaring a state of emergency to help us deal with this plane crash. It allows us to move resources more quickly through emergency management and the Kentucky National Guard.
The NTSB has formed multiple groups to conduct its investigation. Flights at Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport resumed operations this morning with 1 runway open. New at 4, a federal judge has ordered the prosecutor in the criminal case against former FBI Director James Comey to turn over materials from their investigation. Magistrate Judge William Fitzpatrick says he's concerned the Justice Department's plan was to indict first and investigate later. The order follows reports from Comey's attorneys that they have not been able to review materials that were gathered years ago. Judge Fitzpatrick gave the department until the end of the day to hand over these documents. Comey is charged with lying to Congress in 2020 in a case filed days after President Trump appeared to urge his attorney general to prosecute the former FBI director. Comey has pleaded not guilty. As the NTSB continues its investigation into the deadly UPS plane crash in Louisville, we're getting a look at the role video captured from multiple angles will play in this investigation. Plus, President Trump's economic agenda faced a major test at the Supreme Court, why his tariffs plan could be in jeopardy.
Voters in South Fulton will head back to the polls to select a mayor. I'm Fox 5's Angelique Proctor. I'll introduce you to both candidates. I'll have that story straight ahead.
Voters in South Fulton will have to return to the polls to elect a new mayor. Carmelita Gums and Dr. Mark Baker made the runoff Tuesday night in a crowded field, which included the current mayor. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor talked to both candidates today and joins us from South Fulton City Hall with more. Angelique.
Well, good afternoon to you, Christine. South Fulton voters made it clear they are ready for change. Neither the incumbent mayor nor the city's first mayor made the runoff.
I'm just going to keep running a positive and above board campaign.
District 2 Councilwoman Carmelita Gums was the top vote getter on Election Day. The inaugural council member ended up with 39% of the vote out of 9 candidates. She says the results spoke volumes.
They are ready for change in South Fulton. I think that was the most important thing that I walked away with, is that they're tired of the drama. They're tired of all of the headlines on the news and the missed opportunities.
Some argue the surprise of the night was former South Fulton City Councilman Dr. Mark Baker. The education consultant says he was one of the last to get in the race and was not well funded.
Those individuals, who were front runners, who had a long, runway before taking off. And I just feel like what we accomplished with the money that we accomplished it with, we really had a shoestring budget and a lot of volunteers who came together to make a change for the city that they know and love.
Voters rejected a second term from controversial Mayor Khalid Kamal, who finished 6th in the 9-candidate race, well out of the runoff. Gums says she raised about $160,000, while Baker said he made the runoff with just $10,000. Both candidates are confident they will prevail.
People know that we're here now. The moment people knew that we were running and they know our message, they know I have legislation ready to go on day one to make our city better.
Restoring our brand. We have our brand is damaged. I think what's important right now is that South Fulton has to elevate. We need to elevate the city. That's how we'll get great businesses.
Now, both of these candidates have quite a challenge in front of them, and that is to get voters back to the polls on December the 2nd. Live in the city of South Fulton, Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
All right, Angelique, thank you so much. Time now to get an update on your weather forecast. Back with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. We've just strung together a really few good days of weather.
It's been absolutely subliminal.
Yeah, it has.
Things have just sublime, I should say. Just the days of 70s, we thought those were in our rearview mirror because after you cross over into November, our advertised in the upper 60s, not the lower mid to upper 70s. But we have turned back time a bit, but we're going to pay for it before we get into this time next week. So let's rock and roll here. We're on the uptick here with temperatures in the 70s at this hour, 75 degrees, and those 70s loom large across the southern United States, even reaching into Ohio where they have numbers in the 60s, then 80s as you go out into the desert southwest. It's a fairly steady state right now for the southern United States. However, there are a couple waves that we've been watching. Basically, a parade of clipper systems have rolled from the Pacific across the Great Lakes, then eventually into New England and to the northeast. And you can see the latest one here trudging across upstate New York, but the one that catches my attention this afternoon is the one that is rolling off the Pacific right now onto the Pacific Northwest. They're greeting the mountains as we speak as it trudges across, bringing some winter weather across the other side of the border in Canada, but mainly a wet weather maker on the U.S. side. That system has a long way to go, but it will be on our doorsteps by the time we reach the beginning of the weekend. In fact, there's a level 2 out of 3 risk for severe storms to develop across the Tennessee River Valley and the mid-state of Tennessee. However, it looks like northwest Georgia could play a part in getting some thunderstorm activity that delivers us some wind gusts that could top 60 miles an hour. This is saying Friday. We're looking at Friday because that's when it could start, but it looks like the wee hours of Saturday morning are most significant in terms of what we'll actually get from this first round of wet weather. You can see here Calhoun, Marietta, Canton, going up to Ellijay, all the way as far south as LaGrange. We'll even throw in Heard County along with a portion of Coweta, including Noonan. So let's take a look at the models here. You can see that we have one more sunny day that will sneak in, and then the clouds will be a commonality for Friday. A couple showers developing on either side of the I-59-75 corridors to the north and to the west of the city as early as 3 o'clock Friday, but I think most of us get by with dry conditions from beginning till end. Overnight, based on this model, not much happens. We have another model that I can show you later on that is showing a line trying to move through the area crossing 59 sometime before the sun comes up Saturday. So I don't want you to take this home literally, but I think there will be some action in the atmosphere before the sun comes up Saturday. As we go throughout the day Saturday, there's no really outright big time rain chance, and that is after the sun goes down that I see a boulder line setting up just to the north and to the west, and it comes through in the darkness of night, taking us through the overnight hours into the wee hours of Sunday morning. You can see here a pretty stout line stretching from the mountains all the way down into middle Georgia. It comes across the metro area. Most of us are asleep, but if you're out late Saturday night going into Sunday morning, you could run into this activity if it times out like this. Here's the good news. It looks like the front tries to get its act together, moving out of here fairly quickly before most of us wake Sunday morning. The winds will be up, and that will mark a change in the air mass. That air mass is going to be a chilly Arctic-like air mass as temperatures are going to take a nosedive. What you're looking at right here are overnight low temperatures. Okay, well tonight I don't think we'll drop down into the 40s inside the city. Outside the city, yes, that's entirely possible. But then we all climb quickly into the 70s, and we'll do it again on Friday. In fact, for the weekend with clouds in play overnight and some showers and storms, we'll keep those overnight lows in the 60s. But look at this, a sharp and steep drop down into the 30s. In fact, waking up Tuesday morning below freezing, blustery Monday, and then by Veterans Day to start, a frigid start all across North Georgia. We're going to dig into this deep downturn in temperatures in just a few minutes. Christine?
All right, Jonathan, thanks so much. Let's give you an update on Skyfox traffic in the evening rush hour. Police just cleared a crash on 85 South in Fairburn. It's now on the right shoulder at Sonoy Road. Traffic remains jammed back to the perimeter. So for now, avoid this. Take Highway 29 as an alternate route. 75 North in Cobb County also recovering from an earlier crash near Canton Road. It's now a 21-minute trip time from the Cobb Cloverleaf to Wade Green Road. FedEx gets into the holiday spirit, how they're helping the local community stay warm. FedEx Cares volunteers teamed up once again with nonprofit Warm to deliver new winter coats to some Atlanta students. They delivered nearly 300 coats to kids at Continental Colony Elementary School today. The partnership supports Operation Warm's mission to provide warmth and confidence to kids through clothing.
It's truly a blessing because some of these kids, their parents can't afford for them to have coats, or it's not in their budget for a coat for one of their kids. So truly a blessing to provide that opportunity to them.
Throughout November, FedEx will distribute thousands of coats to more than 40 schools across North and South America.
Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Jonathan Stacy here, and I'm tracking a big drop, and it is coming as we start a new week. The temperature takes a steep downturn, falling from the 70s all the way down into the 20s by Veterans Day morning. I'm tracking the numbers in your neighborhood next.
Right now, the investigation in Louisville has begun to take shape just 24 hours after a UPS cargo plane crashed and exploded in a massive fireball. Here's the latest based off what we know. Authorities say at least 9 people are dead, and that number could still rise. The cargo plane crashed at around 5:15 Tuesday night as it was departing for Honolulu from UPS Worldport at Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Video showed flames on the plane's left wing and a trail of smoke as it barreled down the runway. Investigators will now work to piece together what caused the crash involving the UPS MD-11 cargo plane. UPS is based in the Atlanta area, and UPS Airlines is a subsidiary of the package delivery service. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert is live at the UPS facility at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport with the latest. Tyler?
Yeah, Christine, good afternoon to you. It was a catastrophic crash that led to a massive explosion in Kentucky. Take a look behind me. This is the same plane model that was involved in the crash. It's an MD-11 cargo plane. 2 experts I spoke to say video captured from multiple angles will play a key role in the investigation to figure out what went wrong.
fireball lit up the sky in Louisville, Kentucky Tuesday night after a UPS cargo plane plunged to the ground just beyond the runway.
Almost bomb-like in its presentation.
Officials say the UPS MD-11 cargo jet was loaded with more than 200,000 pounds of fuel for its hours-long flight to Hawaii. A witness captured this clip, which shows the plane's left engine on fire and then eventually crash. The NTSB says that engine detached during the takeoff roll. Alan Armstrong is an Atlanta-based aviation attorney and pilot. He says based off different videos online, he believes the left engine appears to have exploded.
Clearly something was amiss. We don't get catastrophic, uncontained engine explosions at 150 feet every day of the week. That just doesn't happen. It's extremely rare.
Kentucky's governor said the plane had 3 crew members on board when it crashed at around 5:15 Tuesday night. At least 9 people are dead, and the governor says that number could rise with more than a dozen missing. Kyle Bailey, a former FAA safety team representative, says video should help investigators.
Video might play a huge role in this investigation, as we have a lot of videos out there, and the most important is of that left wing and that left engine.
Atlanta-based UPS says it's, quote, saddened by the accident. Armstrong believes the pilots did their best despite the terrible situation.
Those guys did everything they could. There's nothing more they could have done. They can't extinguish an exploded engine in midair.
The NTSB is leading the investigation into this accident and held a news conference this afternoon. They say it's just too early to know exactly what happened. We are live at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport this afternoon. Tyler Finger, Fox 5 News.
All right, Tyler, thank you so much. We'll continue to watch that investigation. Let's get you caught up again here on your weather forecast. Back with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. Whatever you're wearing outdoors right now to enjoy this sunny weather, you'll want to maybe pack away by next week, it sounds like.
It would be absolutely inappropriate to wear this on Monday or Tuesday.
You'd be a little cold.
A little bit. Okay, I want to put a disclaimer, so let's hold here for a second. This is the time of the year in which you're going to start seeing a lot of stuff in your Facebook feeds, IG feeds, TikTok, and it's going to be some clickbait out there.
Okay.
Suggesting all different things are happening in the world of weather. Just keep on coming back here. We're on Facebook, IG, TikTok too.
No
look for
clickbait over here.
Just look for the TV. Storm team, because we see this stuff too, and we're looking at the modeling as well. But there will be a lot of things that come out over the next couple of days, hinting at our first run-in with winter, whether by temperatures or precipitation. And we're just going to have to see how it all pans out. We're going to tell you what we know at this hour, and what I can say within a 48-hour period, there will be some neighborhoods across North Georgia that experience a nearly 50-degree drop in temperatures. This is not necessarily out of sync. It's just extreme, considering for the better part of this week, we've had temperatures above average. The first freeze here in Atlanta is generally during the second week of November. The last time we were below or at freezing here in Atlanta was back in February 23rd. Okay, the earliest freeze goes all the way back to 1906. That was October 11th, about a month ahead of schedule. The latest freeze we've ever had on record was back in 1998, in the week before Christmas there. So that said, we're getting ready for what will be an extreme downturn in temperatures, a stark contrast from the week that is. The week to come will offer up well below average temperatures across the eastern United States, and we will feel that drop here in metro Atlanta and across North Georgia. I want to stop the clock here as we take a look at some of these temperatures at 6 o'clock Sunday morning. Cold front moving through. You can see here generally the winds are coming in out of the south, southwest. That's what happens before front drives through. As that front meanders down to the south and to the east, what I think we may ultimately experience for Sunday is the dropping of temperatures as the day goes on, even as the sun is shining. So check this out. We'll go with 61 degrees at the 6 o'clock hour. Okay, do we bump up to 62? Well, 12 hours later, you can see here, we're dropping down into the 50s fairly quickly. So the temperature may hold static, but I don't think there will be a whole lot of growth, even though the sun will come out eventually on Sunday. By Monday morning, look at this. The winds are firing up. It will be quite blustery out there. It will feel like it's 23 degrees in contrast to what it reads on the thermometer at 33. That's here for the metro area and for points to the south, but look up to the north, feeling like 12 degrees there in Blairsville. This is real-time winter stuff happening, folks. 25 degrees degrees under the thermometer. A very, very meager warm up into the 40s for highs on Monday. By Tuesday, that's when the winds start to relax, but that cold air is firmly afoot across the entire region, feeling like 20 degrees here in Atlanta, with the temperature possibly dropping down as low as 27 degrees. That said, there are some models suggesting that there could be some moisture out there that could be tapped into. We'll have to see if that all works out. Tonight, we'll drop down to 52 degrees, mostly clear skies. Sunshine is back tomorrow. Of course, Chief Meteorologist David Chandler will have more on your forecast starting at 5.
All right, Jonathan, we appreciate it. Thanks so much. Time now for another look at Skyfox traffic in the evening rush. 85 southbound toward Noonan's remains your slowest drive right now. It's recovering from an earlier crash near Sonoy Road. All lanes are back open, but expect lingering delays from the perimeter. Highway 29 is still a good alternate. Staying on the south side, police cleared a crash on I-675 southbound at Forest Parkway. All lanes are open, but stay alert. There's still activity on the right shoulder. It's going to take you 19 minutes to go from 285 to I-75. President Trump's economic agenda could be in jeopardy. The major test his tariffs face in the U.S. Supreme Court. President Trump's economic agenda faced a major test at the Supreme Court today. His sweeping tariffs could be in jeopardy. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more.
President Trump says this ruling will be life or death for the country, but the justices had major reservations about a president being allowed to issue tariffs unchecked. It's a major test for President Trump's executive powers and could end with the government returning billions of dollars in tariff revenue if it loses at the Supreme Court.
My tariffs are bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars and are helping slash the deficit this year.
At issue, whether the president intruded on the power of Congress when he issued tariffs under under an emergency powers law.
The vehicle is imposition of taxes on Americans, and that has always been the core power of Congress.
Lawyers for the Trump administration argued the case is not about the power to tax, but the ability to regulate foreign affairs.
It's the power to regulate foreign commerce. These are regulatory tariffs. They are not revenue-raising tariffs.
But even the court's conservative majority seemed skeptical.
It's a one-way ratchet toward the gradual but continual accretion of power in the executive branch.
12 Democratic-led states brought the case, along with several small businesses who say the president's tariffs are driving them into bankruptcy.
Our very survival is at stake, and I urge the court to recognize the real harm these tariffs inflict on American families and businesses.
This issue is considered time-sensitive, and the justices are expected to rule in a matter of weeks. If the justices rule against the president, the Trump administration says it will find another way to impose tariffs. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
A 12-year-old junior lifeguard saving lives. That story when we come back.
And I'm at the High Museum at the Victor and Rolf Fashion Statements exhibition, where we're going to see over 100 different looks worn by celebrities and royalty, including this one behind me that was worn by Cardi B herself. All of that coming up.
Thanks, Lauren. And don't forget to join us tonight at 7 for The Pulse. We'll chat about the stories that have you talking. And tonight, we're taking a look at Gen Zers calling people cringe for using cash. You can join the conversation now by scanning the QR code on your screen or go to fox5atlanta.com/pulse. There's a new installment at the High Museum. Victor and Rolf fashion is currently on display. Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Lauren Robinson joins us now from the museum with a preview. Tell us all about it, Lauren.
Hey, Christine, I feel like I'm in the scene of a Bridgerton episode or something like that, or maybe even on a couture runway, but I am at the High Museum. This is the Victor and Rolf Fashion Statements exhibition, where there are over 100 pieces that have been worn by celebrities, been worn by royalty, hopefully worn by me. So with me, I have Natalie Johnson here, and you have all of the interesting details about all of these pieces behind us. What makes this so special?
This is truly, it is the only U.S. venue to see these works from renowned couture designers, Victor and Rolf. Like you mentioned, there's 121 objects in here. There's beautiful photography, and there's also these really great video animations done by Rodeo FX, which is the studio house behind Game of Thrones. So it kind of has every different aspect to it. It's really about blurring art and fashion into one thing.
Ooh, I love it. Art and fashion, my two favorite things. Now, some of these pieces have been worn by some celebrities. Earlier, we showed a piece that was worn by Cardi B. Who else do we have featured here?
We do. We have an amazing look that Lady Gaga wore, and we also have Madonna and the wedding dress from Princess Mabel of the Netherlands.
Oh, it's beautiful. And there are a few different rooms where you can walk and tour and see all of the different pieces. So you certainly want to make your way here. How long is this exhibition going to be here?
It's here through February, but I will say it's going to get really crowded after the holidays. So I think this is the perfect reason to get your family together. Come by. The weather is always really good inside the High.
Exactly right. So for now, I'm reporting from the High Museum. Meteorologist Lauren Robinson. Back to you, Christine.
Yeah, really neat stuff on display, Lauren. Thanks so much for bringing that to us. A jewelry store is robbed, a 12-year-old lifeguard saves lives, and a century-old time capsule is found. Fox 5's Courtney Bryant joins us now with stories making headlines across America at this hour.
Hey, Christine, we will start in San Francisco, where a beloved bodega cat was killed, allegedly by an autonomous vehicle. Locals say Kit Kat was run over and killed by a Waymo in the Mission District. Now they've called on the state legislature and the governor to give individual counties a say in whether autonomous vehicles like Waymo can operate. But experts say any patchwork quilt of regulations from county to county would only drive Waymo and other self-driving car companies away. Waymo declined to comment on the proposed legislation. Also in California, armed mass suspects got caught on camera smashing and stealing merchandise from a jewelry store. This happened in Panorama City. Police say 2 women were working the counters when 3 suspects walked in. A 50-year-old security guard was shot. Officials now searching for the suspects. A 12-year-old junior lifeguard, along with several other people, have earned praise for rescuing people from a capsized boat in Oceanside, California. 5 women in their 60s had been hit by a sweeper wave, and their fishing boat capsized. 12-year-old Nathan Usher was fishing nearby when he heard the commotion and helped rescue the woman. Nathan used his training to keep the women calm and tend to their injuries. A century-old piece of history has been found at a church in Utah. The item is a 101-year-old time capsule from 1924. It was found hidden in the walls of a Japanese church. The metal box contained memorabilia from Japantown's early days, including Japanese and English language Bibles, local newspapers written in English and Japanese, an American flag with 48 stars, and a hand-stitched Japanese flag. Japanese immigrants formed Japantown in Salt Lake City in the 1900s during the mining and railroad boom, and the church is one of only 2 remaining Japanese religious centers in that city. So cool.
Yeah, very neat. All right, Courtney, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Well, Americans continue to feel the impact of what's now the longest government shutdown in the U.S., in U.S. history. Money for the federal food assistance program known as SNAP paused because of the government shutdown, and even federal judges ordered the Trump administration to tap into emergency funds to make at least partial payments. Many families still don't know when help will arrive. Fox's Oliviana Calmes is in St. Louis, where food banks say demand has surged. Oliviana.
It has, Christine. Food banks have really stepped up to help, but with all these changes happening, it's hard to keep up, they tell me.
Even if the government were to reopen tomorrow, it will still take time for the money to get transferred from the federal government to the states and then for the states to issue. So people are confused, they're stressed, they don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, let alone a couple weeks from now.
Operation Food Search CEO Kristen Wild says they knew demand would skyrocket when SNAP funds dried up, thankfully, people are giving. She said the organization just broke a record for online cash donations, but for many families, that help still isn't enough.
If they need the assistance, that means they need the assistance. This is not something that's just there for them to use willy-nilly. Like, people are genuinely betting their lives on these resources.
2 federal judges ruled that it was illegal to freeze those food assistance payments, so the Trump administration said it would use money from the Agriculture Department's emergency fund to help fill the gap. However, that only covers about half the amount people would normally get in a month. Now, on Tuesday, President Trump posted on Truth Social saying SNAP benefits would only resume when Democrats, quote, reopen the government. But White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt cleared things up a little while after that, saying the president was only referring to future SNAP payments.
He does not want to have to keep tapping in to an emergency fund and depleting it. In the case of a catastrophe in this country, he wants to have those funds preserved, as they should be. And he's made it very clear Democrats should reopen the government.
This organization says if you want to help wherever you are, food banks have connections to local grocers and food manufacturers to get that food at a cheaper price. So monetary donations are great. Of course, food donations to local pantries near you are great, especially as we go into the holiday season. Christine.
All right, Oliviana, thank you so much. Recognizing peace and unity around the globe, the new award created by FIFA. FIFA has created its own FIFA Peace Prize. The award was created by the International Football Association to recognize exceptional actions for peace and unity around the globe. The prize is expected to be bestowed on a yearly basis. This year's winner will receive the award in December from FIFA President Gianni Infantino. The Atlanta Falcons heading overseas for this Sunday's game. They'll take on the Indianapolis Colts in Berlin, Germany. You can watch the game right here on Fox 5. Our coverage begins at 9 Sunday morning. Time now to take a look at what's ahead on Fox 5 News at 5. A massive win for Democrats here in Georgia. The impact of the statewide election in the Peach State as voters speak up in the Public Service Commission races. And a disturbing case in Coweta County. A young sex assault victim struggles to find support after confiding in her family. Fox 5's Doug Evans tells us what prosecutors did to bring her attacker to justice. All that and more coming up next on Fox 5 News at 5. It starts right after the break.
Fox 5 News at 5 starts right now.
24 hours out from Election Day, we're getting a better look at how Georgians voted. Now at 5, the big results and what they mean for future votes.
And another arrest in a fatal weekend shooting. We're following those developments as the victim's mother now speaks out. We begin with a story that's all new at 5 tonight. A Coweta County man will spend the rest of his life behind bars for the rape of a 17-year-old girl. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Tom Haynes.
I'm Courtney Bryant. The district attorney says the victim's own mother not only ignored her daughter's plea for help, but was not supportive of her attacker's prosecution. Fox 5's Doug Evans has more details on the case.
The Coweta County jury heard testimony that Brett Brown drugged this 17-year-old girl, gave her alcohol, and then raped her. He was found guilty of rape and multiple other charges and will spend the rest of his life in prison. Investigators say the victim's family refused to go to law enforcement. It was a friend who helped her file a report, and that led to the arrest of Brett Brown in 2020, accused of giving the 17-year-old alcohol laced with drugs, raping her, and then providing her with contraception the next day. The victim took the stand during the trial, and prosecutors Jillian Brassfield and Jessica Williams-Vickery said her testimony was key to Brown's conviction.
She did a fantastic job and was courageous and brave in communicating what had happened to her. And I think that the jurors ultimately found her credible. And then I think also we had some evidence involving the mother.
Sure, we had a recording that was found ultimately on the mother's phone. That was a recording that was taken within a day or so of the victim coming forward, and the jurors did comment to us afterwards that they could hear the emotion in the victim's voice when she was talking in that recording. And
prosecutors say the girl went to her mother and maternal grandparents for help. The mother recorded the conversation but never filed a police report. District Attorney Herb Cranford says the mother and grandparents who believed the allegations against Brown were true were not supportive of the prosecution and sided with him.
At every turn, they had been unwilling and uncooperative with that outcome and with him being held accountable ultimately.
And the mother, had collected evidence during the course of this investigation while law enforcement was involved and didn't provide any of that voluntarily to law enforcement.
The DA's office said where the mother and maternal grandparents failed her, the victim's friends, the investigators, the prosecution team, and the jury delivered justice for her. I'm Doug Evans, Fox 5 News in Coweta County.
Happening now, the search is on for the two men you see here. They're wanted in connection to a deadly shooting that happened last month. It happened just after 10 p.m. on Allison Court Southwest on October 18th. Atlanta police arrived to find a 33-year-old who had been shot several times. He was pronounced dead at the scene. These two were seen on surveillance video. If you recognize either one of them, information leading to an arrest could get you a $5,000 reward. Crime Stoppers is also offering $5,000 for information about an armed robbery. Police say the two men you see here robbed a victim on MLK Jr. Drive back in June. The victim told police he had just exited the bus when he was approached by 5 men who surrounded him. 2 of the men attacked him and tried to steal his phone. They failed and took his phone charger instead. If you recognize these men, call Crime Stoppers.
A family prepares to bury their loved one this weekend as a result of a triple shooting that ended in the murder of a young mom.
For the first time, her mother is talking publicly about the crime. And we also heard today from a survivor of the shooting. Fox 5's Kevin Stewart joins us live from the Carrollton Police Department with this story. Kevin?
Yeah, I did talk to her, and not long after that, police here in Carrollton announced that they had made a 4th arrest. We're told what we have here is a group of suspects who exchanged gunfire, and the victim was standing nearby and was killed fatally. And while we do not know who fired the fatal shot, because the police allege they were all armed and shots were fired, they're all charged with murder.
They shot me, but that's the thing I don't understand.
Kathy Cheek survived the Sunday morning attack, hit by several bullets here on 6th Street in Carrollton.
What was going on was basically nonsense. Stuff that could have been avoided. People were toting guns.
And her cousin, who's like a sister, 26-year-old Larry Brown, was shot to death.
She was just amazing.
Brown, a mom of 3, died at the scene.
Lele helped put together family reunions, barbecues. Lele was there for her younger siblings when her mama was sick.
Praying them to be making arrangements like this for me. Not me making arrangements. Not me.
Qualisha Lowry is the matriarch, but Lele, as her family liked to call her, was up next. Lowry says her daughter was already truly the rock.
I wake up crying because of her. And then some days I wake up crying because of anger. I'm trying not to let building take over. This is my baby dad wrong. My baby dad do my baby like that.
These are the suspects charged with her murder. Sintez Worthy, Jamine Hutchinson, Zontavious Vaughn, and Jeriquez Lowry just picked up this afternoon. Police say there was an exchange of gunfire amongst them, killing the victim.
She was just having the best time of her best time. And that earlier that day was her daughter's birthday. She wasn't nowhere in the mix of nobody drama.
Now, this family has banded together, planning a weekend funeral and waiting on justice.
So I'll tell you, put my baby to rest. That's when I'm gonna work on that.
Now, the family has established a GoFundMe account in Ms. Lowry's name. Also, police, they're not done with this. They say if you know anything, they want to hear from you. Going live in Carrollton, Carroll County, Kevin Stewart, Fox 5 News.
Just your heart goes out to that family. Kevin, thanks.
All right, let's talk about the weather. And here we are with Chief Meteorologist David Chanley. You got a lot to brag about on a day like today, David. I mean, just gorgeous.
Perfect. It was just a perfect day. Yeah, we had
two thumbs up, right?
2 thumbs up, indeed. That's what we're dealing with quite a bit of sunshine out there across metro Atlanta and North Georgia, and that's what we're going to be dealing with through the course of this day. Yeah, we're looking at what's going on temperature-wise. We're 74. Yeah, the dew point's at 47. A lot of sunshine today. We hit 76 today. It wasn't a record high. Record high is 82. But it's certainly up above that norm of 67, so enjoy. Southwest wind bringing us a little bit of warmth right there. You're looking at temperatures still sunny and warm in a lot of areas, even trying to nudge the 70s up in the mountains. Blue Ridge is falling back now to 68. Take a look at what we're headed to tonight in the drier air. We'll cool off. Nothing drastic. I mean, by the time we get past sunset, we'll be falling out of the 60s and on into the 50s toward the midnight hour. We're going to kind of hang out in the 50s, I think, here in town, and we'll find 40s in the suburbs with that clear sky, 39 perhaps up in Blairsville for the cool location. And then highs tomorrow, a repeat of today. I mean, it's going to be a carbon copy, mid to even some upper 70s down there on the south side. So really warm indeed. Now, what we're looking at down the road is a few changes. Yeah, as we unpack the end of the week and getting ourselves on into the weekend, look what happens. We got a chance of some showers. Now, they'll be in here early. This is Saturday morning, so late Friday night, early Saturday morning, possibility even a few thunderstorms with that. That continues on into the first part of Saturday with a rogue shower, and we got another isolated shot in here on Sunday. After that, the temperature plummets. We'll talk more about that here in 10 minutes.
Post 1, Mayor Jelani Linder.
That's the sound of victory in Stone Mountain as candidates celebrated their wins in last night's election. 4 new candidates will fill seats in the county city hall. Jelani Linder was voted as the city's mayor. Hubert Jordan was elected as City Council Post 5. Elaine Vaughn will fill the seat in City Council Post 6 and Kay Nunez in Post 4. Current Mayor Beverly Jones has been the center of controversy. She's accused of violating her oath of office by taking control of city bank accounts, a claim she denies. Those candidates and others are ready to move their areas forward after Election Day. Georgians also saw a huge upset in the statewide Public Service Commission race, with 2 Democrats unseating incumbent Republicans.
Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live at the state capitol with reaction for us tonight. Deidre?
That's right, and the race generating some strong reaction here at home and also at the national level with such big wins by Democrats last night.
Georgia's a purple state, and the election results last night proved it. We're trending towards becoming a more blue state.
In a major upset Tuesday, Democratic candidates Alicia Johnson and Peter Hubbard won 2 seats on the Public Service Commission, defeating Republican incumbents.
Now, what we got to do is how do you sustain that momentum, coupled with fundraising and having a message that helps people in May of 2026.
The resounding victory has garnered strong reaction from state Democratic and Republican leadership.
The outcome being determined by the organic turnout in municipal elections, that was a huge benefit for Democrats.
Republican strategist Brian Robinson has been warning for months this might be the possible outcome.
Georgia is a competitive state, and if the environment is in your favor, it's going to be hard for you to lose in Georgia. I don't think this is a lesson that Republicans have fully learned here yet.
Robinson said Republicans must be very strategic heading into the 2026 midterms if they want to maintain their advantage on the state level.
There are many reasons why Republicans lost in Georgia on Tuesday, and it's not all because of an anti-Republican sentiment. But you can't miss this takeaway. Democrats can win in Georgia. Republicans can't put up any old boob and think they're going to win just because there's an R behind their name.
Democratic strategist Theron Johnson said Democrats' strong showing across the country on Election Day signals trouble for Republicans.
We're now in this bad economy. Inflation is still high. The tariffs didn't work. We got people in Georgia right now who are hungry. Folks are losing their health care. Hospitals are closing. All of these things came to the front of mind for voters when they went in there early to vote and also on Election Day.
As expected, that both Republicans and Democrats will pore over the data from the PSC race here in Georgia as they look to next year's midterm elections. That's the latest here at the state capitol. Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
Deidre, thanks. There will be a new mayor in South Fulton, but we don't know who just yet. Ahead tonight, the candidates who made it into a runoff election.
The death toll is rising after that UPS plane crash in Kentucky. I'm Tyler Fingert at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. I'll have the latest just ahead.
Hi, Tyler. Plus, tempers flare on Capitol Hill as the government shutdown drags on. Ahead tonight, the growing tension as the stalemate continues. Right now, the investigation in Louisville has started to take shape just 24 hours after a UPS cargo plane crashed and exploded in a massive fireball.
Authorities say at least 9 people are dead, and that number could still rise. The cargo plane crashed around 5:15 Tuesday night as it departed for Honolulu from UPS Worldport at Louisville's Muhammad Ali International Airport. Video showed flames on the plane's left wing and a trail of smoke as it barreled down the runway. Investigators will now work to piece together what caused the crash involving the UPS cargo plane.
UPS is based in the Atlanta area, and UPS Airlines is a subsidiary of the package delivery service. Let's get out to Fox 5's Tyler Fingert, who's live at the UPS facility at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport tonight with more. Tyler?
Yeah, Tom, good evening to you. It was a catastrophic crash that ended up leading to a massive explosion in Kentucky. Take a look behind me. This is the same model plane that was involved in that crash yesterday. It is an MD-11 cargo plane. 2 experts I spoke to say video captured from multiple angles will play a key role in the investigation to figure out what went wrong. A fire
fireball lit up the sky in Louisville, Kentucky Tuesday night after a UPS cargo plane plunged to the ground just beyond the runway.
Almost bomb-like in its presentation.
Officials say the UPS MD-11 cargo jet was loaded with more than 200,000 pounds of fuel for its hours-long flight to Hawaii. A witness captured this clip, which shows the plane's left engine on fire and then eventually crash. The NTSB says that engine detached during the takeoff roll. Alan Armstrong is an Atlanta-based aviation attorney and pilot. He says based off different videos online, he believes the left engine appears to have exploded.
Clearly something was amiss. We don't get catastrophic, uncontained engine explosions at 150 feet every day of the week. That just doesn't happen. It's extremely rare.
Kentucky's governor said the plane had 3 crew members on board when it crashed at around 5:15 Tuesday night. At least 9 people are dead, and the governor says that number could rise with more than a dozen missing. Kyle Bailey, a former FAA safety team representative, says video should help investigators.
Video might play a huge role in this investigation, as we have a lot of videos out there, and the most important is of that left wing and that left engine.
Atlanta-based UPS says it's, quote, saddened by the accident. Armstrong believes the pilots did their best despite the terrible situation.
Those guys did everything they could. There's nothing more they could have done. They can't extinguish an exploded engine in midair.
The NTSB will lead this investigation. The agency says it's just simply too early to know exactly what happened. We are live at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport tonight. Tyler Finger, Fox 5 News.
Still just so shocking. Tyler, thanks.
All right, back to our weather now. Talking about this gorgeous day we've been enjoying with Chief Meteorologist David Chanley. It's like all the days that we missed out on the beauty of fall weather are behind us today. For this moment, we'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and the mild temperatures out there too, David.
Yeah, temperatures above the norm. Now, here's the thing. Remember this now when we're with you on Monday and Tuesday. Just remember. Just remember how nice it was, all right? Because we got some changes going to be rolling our way. Not anytime soon, though. Yeah, we got some days to enjoy. Let me show you what it looks like. 101 Marietta camera, you've been out and about today. Beaucoup sunshine out there, and temperatures warm nicely indeed. Yeah, we found the sun doing its thing. We got up to 76 today. How about that? 74 is where we stand right now, and 47 was the low this morning. 47 is right on target. That 76 is 9 degrees above the average. And you see we're holding on to some 70s now in the late hours. Sunset here right around the corner, so these will be dropping in the drier air. But, man, it is very pleasant out there for sure. Here's what's going on. We've had a few clouds show up, but not much. We got a boundary up here that's really just going to kind of reinforce some drier air for us. We're not going to see any rainmakers yet. And you look how that's the dividing line. It's some pretty warm temperatures to the south. Look at all the 70s and 80s, and then cooler numbers up to the north. They're in the 50s and 40s, but again, nothing real drastic, not any like polar air rolling our way. So we got sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:01, and we'll see temperatures just kind of flirting with the lower 50s here in town. But I do think you get outside the perimeter, we'll see a bunch of 40s show up again out there in places like Noonan and Covington and Athens. So fairly seasonal, really, start to the day on Thursday. And then high temperatures right back up into those mid-70s, even some upper 70s perhaps down on the south side. So soak in the 70s. They'll stick around for a few days. We got some major changes around the corner. Meteorologist Alex Forbes joins me from out on the Fox 5 weather deck. And Alex, it's always a shock to the system when we start talking about freezing temperatures.
Yeah, David, a 50-degree temperature swing possible from, we'll say, Saturday afternoon down to Monday morning. A big-time shift coming to north and central Georgia. So it might be 70-some-odd degrees outside right now, but let's break out the icicles, all right? I want to highlight that we are going to have the potential for a hard freeze. That's going to be really overnight Monday into Tuesday. I think it's going to be the more substantial hard freeze, but still, even then, overnight Sunday into Monday and into Tuesday, right? Tuesday night, some freezing temperatures possible. So let's take a look at some of the specifics here. What I'm going to show you, this is raw model data, all right? So this doesn't have a person behind it. It doesn't have me behind it. It doesn't have David behind it. This is just straight model output, but it tells the story of what's going to be going on. So this is Monday morning, right? Your white number, that's going to be your temperature. Your blue number is going to be your wind chill. How about that? near freezing in Atlanta with a wind chill of 25. Take a look up towards Canton, 32, but that wind howling making it feel like 22. Even some teens possible up in the mountains. All right, I'm going to play this forward into Tuesday morning now, and this is where we have the potential to be below freezing area wide. But those wind chills, right? November 11th. 11 degrees is what it could feel like in Blairsville, 23 in Ellijay, 23 in Dalton. I mean, look down towards LaGrange, right? 24 down there, 22 in Eatonton. It's not just a mountain thing necessarily. So here's how it breaks down now. We're going to be looking at Monday morning, widespread 30s, but the wind chills are going to be in the teens and 20s. That's when you spend maybe an hour or two below freezing. By the time we get to Monday afternoon, we are barely going to be getting into the 40s. Wind chills, still cold, 20s and 30s. It's Tuesday morning where I would be prepared to spend several hours below freezing across north and central Georgia. So Tom and Courtney, this is the type of weather now where you cover your spigots, you maybe drain your sprinkler system, because it's not just a touch in 32 and then warming up type of thing. It's several hours below freezing, and it's less than a week away.
Wow, time to batten down the hatches. My goodness, Alex, thanks. All right, time now for a look at Sky Fox traffic and the evening rush hour. Heads up for drivers in West Atlanta. GDOT is reporting emergency roadwork on I-20 westbound at MLK Jr. Drive. There's one far right lane blocked, and it's leading to a slower ride from the downtown connector. Hollowell Parkway or Langford Parkway are good alternate routes. The west wall of 285 southbound from 75 to I-20 is taking 27 minutes right now. The east wall southbound from 85 to I-20 is taking 30 minutes.
9 candidates are reduced to just 2. I'm Fox 5's Angelique Proctor. We'll tell you who's still running for the mayor of South Fulton. That story's next.
All right, Angelique, plus a local organization sees a sharp spike in people searching for help. Ahead tonight, the efforts to aid those affected by the government shutdown. Voters in South Fulton will have to return to the polls. They had a crowded field of candidates for the mayor, including the controversial incumbent, but nobody was able to muster more than 50% of the vote.
Fox 5's Angelique Proctor joins us from South Fulton City Hall with the 2 candidates who made the runoff now. Angelique?
Well, good afternoon to you both. What seems to be clear is that South Fulton residents are ready to turn the page from the current leadership of Mayor Khalid Kamau. The top vote getter was District 2 Councilwoman Carmelita Gumbs, who garnered 39% of the vote. Gumbs works in corporate America in marketing and healthcare. She was also an inaugural council member when the city was formed. She says restoring trust and transparency are the tenets of her campaign.
They are ready for change in South Fulton. I think that was the most important thing that I walked away with, is that they're tired of the drama. They're tired of all of the headlines on the news and the missed opportunities.
The second vote getter was Dr. Mark Baker with 19%. Baker's number 2 spot surprised a lot of people. Many did not expect him to make the runoff. He, too, is an inaugural council member and former mayor pro tem, who said he is a candidate who gets results.
Those individuals, who were front runners, who had a long, runway before taking off. And I just feel like what we accomplished with the money that we accomplished it with, we really had a shoestring budget and a lot of volunteers.
What voters clearly rejected was current Mayor Khalid Kamau, who has had a challenging 4 years of leadership that even included an arrest on a criminal trespassing charge and controversial international trips on taxpayer money. Mayor Kobe, as he prefers to be called, finished 6th out of 9 candidates, so voters are clearly ready to turn the page. Former South Fulton Mayor Bill Edwards did not make the runoff either. Now, the big challenge for both of these candidates now is to get voters back to the polls between Thanksgiving and Christmas for that December 2nd runoff. Live in the city of South Fulton, Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
Perhaps a preview of what's to come next year here, Angelique. Thanks. The Supreme Court will decide if the president's recent tariffs are legal. Next at 5, today's arguments before the justices.
Last night's Democratic wins have shifted the political dynamics of the government shutdown. I'm Fox 5's Russ Spencer. What President Trump has demanded from his own party in the U.S. Senate. David?
All right, Russ, we are looking at a lot of sunshine till it sets tonight, and it comes back tomorrow. But looking down the road, we're going to trade that sunshine for some showers and then a big temperature shift. We'll get into that next.
Things have gotten testy on Capitol Hill in the wake of the Democratic wins last night in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia.
President Trump lectured Congress about the shutdown, calling on his party to end it by ditching the filibuster. Fox 5's Russ Spencer joins us from the live desk with more. Russ?
Well, Courtney and Tom, President Trump blames the Democratic sweep last night on two factors: anger over the government shutdown and the fact that he wasn't on the ballot, ignoring the fact that the Democratic winners ran as much against him as they did against their Republican opponents. President Trump laid into Senate Republicans today, telling them to get rid of the filibuster so they can reopen the government with a simple majority and move full speed ahead with his agenda.
And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation. There'll be no legislation passed.
Some Republicans are reluctant to get rid of the filibuster because of what it would mean when Democrats inevitably retake control someday. With the House still in recess, tempers are starting to flare on Capitol Hill. Just hours after the president's remarks, a shouting match erupted between House Speaker Mike Johnson and one of his Democratic colleagues in the middle of a news conference.
You should respect free speech. And you should respect free speech. I'm asking you a question if you're ready to have a conversation with the other side. You have an
There are signs that negotiators could be making some progress. Some lawmakers say they are cautiously optimistic that a deal could be reached by the end of the week. But the Democrats claim it all depends on the White House being ready to make a deal about health insurance subsidies. The talks have focused on a new continuing resolution that would fund the government through January. Courtney, Tom, back to you.
Thanks. President Trump's economic agenda faced a major test at the Supreme Court today.
The sweeping tariffs could be in jeopardy. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor explains.